Deep quiet of a summer night settled over the vast expanse of central India in the year 1973. A pale, gentle moon, round and full in the velvet sky, cast its soft silver light across a wide, dry meadow. At the very edge of this open space, where the meadow met the first whispers of the jungle, stood a towering patch of elephant grass. Each slender blade, still resilient even in the height of the warm season, reached high towards the calm, dark heavens, shimmering with a quiet, otherworldly luminescence under the steady lunar glow. The air, though many hours into the night, still held the lingering memory of the day's intense heat, a comforting warmth that seemed to infuse the very earth in the sturdy stalks of the grass. Deep within this shimmering ocean of stalks, a magnificent tiger lay in a state of profound rest. His powerful form, a beautiful canvas of warm gold and dark, rich ebony stripes, blended effortlessly with the intricate patterns of shadow and light cast by the moonlight filtering through the dense vegetation. He had found this spot for its absolute stillness, a place where the world felt entirely undisturbed. His heavy body was perfectly at ease, sunk deep into the soft, yielding earth beneath the protective, rustling canopy of the tall grasses. This secluded hollow was his quiet sanctuary, a space of profound comfort and safety where he could truly settle and find deep relaxation. A faint, almost imperceptible breeze began to stir, a soft, slow breath moving through the tall elephant grass, causing a gentle, rhythmic sway. It was a subtle current, just enough to carry with it the dry, comforting scent of the sun-baked earth, mingling with the sweeter, more delicate fragrances of distant flowering shrubs hidden deeper in the quiet forest beyond the meadow. These quiet movements of the air brought a slow, gradual cooling to the atmosphere, a refreshing change that softened the lingering heat. From all around, the ceaseless chorus of crickets provided a steady, rhythmic hum. It was a constant low thrum, a sound so deeply familiar to this peaceful wilderness that it became an integral part of the night's very fabric, never intrusive, always present, weaving a soft tapestry of sound that encouraged deeper rest. After many tranquil hours spent in slumber, a slow stirring began deep within the resting tiger. His long, muscular tail gave a gentle, almost lazy sway, a soft whisper against the resilient grass blades. Then one of his striking golden eyes slowly opened, a sliver of luminous amber cutting through the deep shadows. He blinked with unhurried grace, absorbing the peaceful scene before him, the serene silver moonlight, the endless swaying of the grasses, the unhurried symphony of the crickets. There was no urgency in his movements, only a gradual, calm return to full awareness, a gentle transition from deep sleep to quiet wakefulness. He remained still for a few more moments, breathing deeply, letting the profound stillness of the night seep into his being. With deliberate, unhurried grace, the tiger began to stretch his powerful limbs, extending each massive paw slowly, feeling the deep, satisfying stretch ripple through his large, muscular body. His claws, usually retracted, subtly elongated for a moment, pressing into the soft earth. He rose slowly to his full, majestic height, his powerful form emerging from the tall grasses. His striped fur glimmered with silver under the moon, highlighting the intricate patterns that adorned him. He paused once more, his head turning from side to side, his soft whiskers trembling slightly as he gathered the many quiet scents that drifted on the gentle night air. The elephant grass brushed gently against his sides as he began to move, padding through the reeds with a silent, steady rhythm, each powerful footfall absorbed by the earth. His journey was not one of haste, but a careful, thoughtful exploration of the world unfolding under the warm, watchful moon. He followed indistinct forest trails, moving through the undergrowth with an inherent calm, his heavy paws treading lightly over fallen leaves and dry twigs. The feeling of safety was pervasive, a deep comfort woven into the quiet fabric of the night. He passed by ancient trees whose rough bark felt cool against his fur as he brushed past. The rustles he made were minimal, merging with the natural sounds of the peaceful night. He was observing, taking in every detail with his keen golden eyes, listening to the subtle shifts in the air, the faint whispers of unseen creatures going about their nocturnal routines. The gentle night deepened around him as he continued his unhurried passage. The distant call of an owl drifted through the air, a soft, reassuring sound that underscored the profound stillness. The tiger moved with an easy, fluid motion, his powerful muscles rippling beneath his fur with each quiet step. He enjoyed the quiet solitude, the sense of being fully present in the vast, sleeping wilderness. The path ahead was illuminated by the constant soft light of the moon, guiding his way without ever feeling bright or jarring. This was the peaceful beginning of a long nocturnal passage, a journey that would unfold with gentle curiosity through the comforting shadows of the summer night. The world felt stable and predictable, allowing him to rest in the rhythm of his own steady pace, embracing the calm expanse of the quiet forest night as he moved deeper into its gentle embrace. Chapter 2. The tiger, having emerged from the embrace of the whispering elephant grass, now found a new path beneath its softly padding paws. This was a narrow sandy trail, a quiet ribbon winding gently between the scattered forms of acacia trees. The night air, still carrying the lingering warmth from the long summer day, felt different here, more open and expansive than the close confines of the tall grasses. The moonlight, no longer filtered through dense blades, spread itself more broadly, illuminating the fine dust that covered the trail. This dust held a subtle, softly glowing quality, as if it remembered the sun's departure, absorbing the moon's pale light and reflecting it upward in a faint, comforting luminescence. Each careful step the tiger took raised only the slightest whisper of this warm dust, a sound almost swallowed by the vast stillness of the night. Its powerful limbs moved with an effortless grace, each movement deliberate and unhurried. The striped fur glimmered faintly under the soft moonlight, patterns of dark and gold shifting with the gentle undulation of its muscles. The tiger's golden eyes, wide and attentive, observed the way the acacia branches, delicate and intricate, cast their own unique patterns. These were not the sharp, stark lines of a day's shadow, but soft, wavering shapes that danced across the sandy ground, moving gently with any imperceptible shift in the quiet night breeze. The air here was dry and clean, carrying a subtle, earthy fragrance that was distinct from the marshier scents of the grassland left behind. As the tiger continued its peaceful wandering jungle paths along this trail, the chorus of summer insects began a new, softer symphony. No longer solely the insistent rhythm of crickets, now there was a gentle, continuous hum that seemed to emanate from all around, from hidden places within the sparse bushes and from the canopy of the acacia trees above. This pervasive, low hum was a constant, soothing companion, a stable background sound against which other, more fleeting noises could be heard. Distant night birds exchanged their occasional calls, single, drawn-out notes that floated on the air, carrying far across the quiet landscape before fading into the vast, calm night sky. These sounds were never sharp or startling. They were merely parts of the deep relaxation of the wilderness, woven into the fabric of the peaceful forest night. The tiger's senses were finely tuned to this unfolding environment. It noticed the subtle changes in scent as it passed different clusters of vegetation. A faint, sweet note from a flowering shrub here, a slightly more resinous aroma from an older tree there. Each breath brought new information, absorbed calmly, adding to its understanding of the territory. The temperature, too, underwent gentle shifts. In the open stretches of the trail, the air felt a little warmer, retaining the day's heat within the fine dust. As the path wound closer to a stand of denser acacia, a cooler pocket of air would softly embrace its fur, a fleeting relief that hinted at unseen moisture or deeper shade. This awareness was not a search, but a quiet, constant observation, a part of its natural rhythm. There was no urgency in the tiger's steady progression. It was simply following forest trails, letting the quiet path guide its journey under the bright, clear stars that now seemed to multiply in the deepening night overhead. The sky, a canvas of rich, dark blue, was becoming more intensely dotted with pinpricks of light, each one a tiny, distant jewel. This open and spacious environment contributed to a feeling of profound tranquility, a sense of boundless freedom within the peaceful wilderness. The tiger's presence within this silent nature felt completely at home, a powerful yet gentle creature moving through its domain with silent dignity. Sometimes the tiger would pause. These pauses were brief, moments of stillness where it would simply stand, its tail gently swaying from side to side, listening to rustles in the dry leaves nearby, or the soft whisper of the wind through the acacia thorns, its soft whiskers trembling slightly, picking up the slightest vibrations in the air. The tiger would take in the complete picture of its surroundings before slowly resuming its walk. These moments of quiet rest offered a brief, reassuring anchor in the continuous flow of the night, allowing the deep relaxation to settle even further. The comfort of steady movement and peaceful observation filled these solitary hours. The path continued its gentle meandering, curving softly around low mounds of earth and between more widely spaced trees. The ground remained sandy, the soft texture providing a comforting cushion for each step. There was a consistency to this journey, a predictability in the quiet progression that invited a feeling of stability. The faint light from the moon overhead, now higher in the sky, cast longer, more attenuated shadows, stretching out like fingers across the path ahead. The stillness of the forest was palpable, broken only by the natural sounds of the unseen creatures that shared the night. The tiger was a part of this silent symphony, its movements adding a gentle, almost imperceptible note to the overall calm. The stars above grew even brighter, their distant glow a steady, unwavering light in the immense, calm night sky. The soft moonlight poured down, creating a natural, ethereal illumination that made the landscape appear as if rendered in silver and deepest indigo. It was a scene of perfect quietude, a setting designed for deep sleep and ultimate comfort. The air was breathable and clean, a testament to the serene heart of the wilderness. The tiger's journey felt endless yet contained, a continuous, peaceful exploration where each new step brought a fresh, subtle delight in the sensory experience of the nocturnal world. The quiet unfolding of the path beneath its feet, the gentle sounds, and the ever-present soft luminescence of the moon combined to create a sense of profound security. The night deepened slowly, without any sudden changes, ushering in a quiet, undisturbed progression under the watchful, silent stars. The steady rhythm of its walk created a comforting melody against the soft earth. The tiger continued onward, a solitary wanderer beneath the vast, peaceful canopy of the summer night, moving slowly into the soft mystery of what lay ahead, enveloped in quiet comfort. Chapter 3. The narrow sandy trail, which had wound so gently between the scattered acacia trees, began a subtle, almost imperceptible ascent. Each soft pad of the tiger's paws lifted less dust now, as the ground shifted from fine, warm sand to a firmer, rockier terrain. The air, still holding the summer night's gentle warmth, seemed to grow a quiet clarity with the rising elevation. Above, the moon, a pale, silent lantern, cast its silver light with increasing definition upon the emerging landscape. The tiger moved with unhurried purpose, following the natural contours of the earth as it angled slowly upward. The journey led toward a low, rocky ridge, a long, weathered line against the deep canvas of the night sky. These stones, ancient and enduring, carried within their surfaces the faint, residual warmth of the day's long sun, a soft memory beneath the cool touch of the night air. The tiger's striped fur glimmered with each step, a quiet ripple of movement through the pale light as it approached the crest. The rise was not steep, but a smooth, gradual incline, allowing for a steady, peaceful ascent. As the tiger reached the highest point of the ridge, its golden eyes observing the panorama before it, a new expanse unfolded. Below, the dark woodland stretched out in a silent, undulating carpet, a vast tapestry of slumbering trees beneath the wide, open sky. The forest lay quiet and still, its deeper shadows absorbing the moon's gentle glow. From this vantage, the world seemed to expand, becoming more spacious, more profoundly tranquil. A mild wind began to stir, a soft breath moving across the exposed rocks and caressing the tiger's whiskers. It carried with it new scents, subtle and layered, hinting at unseen valleys and hidden groves far below. Earthy fragrances mingled with the distant faint sweetness of flowering night-blooming plants, carried upward on the currents of the breeze. Each inhalation brought a deeper sense of the vast living landscape. The tiger paused, its powerful limbs settling comfortably on the cool stone. It stood for a long moment, a magnificent silhouette framed by the moonlit expanse. Its tail gently swayed, a slow, hypnotic rhythm in the stillness of the night. This was a moment for calm reflection, a pause to absorb the comfort of the wide, open space. The sense of safety here was profound, high above the sleeping world, with the quiet protection of the ancient stones all around. From the ridge, the sounds of the night arrived softened by distance. The chirping of crickets, so crisp and immediate in the grassland, became a gentle, continuous hum, a background melody woven into the fabric of the quiet air. The occasional rustle of leaves from the woodland floor, or the soft call of a distant night bird, floated upward, diffused and gentle, adding to the pervasive sense of peaceful solitude. The tiger listened, its ears swiveling almost imperceptibly, processing the tapestry of night sounds without alarm, merely taking them in as part of the overarching stillness. Below, the forest canopy appeared as a dark, unmoving ocean, only its highest branches occasionally catching the moon's pale light. The tiger's gaze swept across the expansive vista, observing the subtle shifts of shadow and light, the deep folds of the land, and the barely visible paths that might wind through the unseen terrain. This elevated perspective offered a moment of tranquil contemplation, a widening of the world around it. The air was wonderfully calm, a comforting embrace in the heart of the summer night. The weathered stones beneath its paws were smooth, worn by countless seasons of sun and wind, cool to the touch after the earlier warmth. The tiger shifted its weight slowly, finding the most restful posture for its rest. It was a moment of profound stillness, a deep immersion in the quiet grandeur of the night. The moon continued its silent journey across the sky, painting the ridge in ever-changing shades of silver and shadow, enhancing the feeling of spacious tranquility. There was no urgency in this place, only the steady, gentle progression of the night. The tiger remained on the ridge for a long time, allowing the cool air to soothe its fur and the vast panorama to settle its spirit. The distant sounds seemed to encourage a deeper rest, a calm breathing that matched the slow rhythm of the wild world. Every element, from the cool stone to the mild wind, contributed to a profound sense of peaceful well-being. Eventually, with a soft, deliberate stretch of its powerful limbs, the tiger began to prepare for the next leg of its quiet journey. It cast one last glance across the sprawling, silent forest, taking in the full measure of the landscape. The rest on the ridge had recharged its senses, instilling a renewed comfort in the rhythm of the nocturnal world. With an unhurried grace, the tiger turned its head, golden eyes observing the path that sloped gently down from the other side of the ridge, leading it deeper into the summer night, continuing its steady nighttime journey towards new, unseen wonders. The quiet descent began, a soft movement back into the more intimate embrace of the land. Chapter 4. The great tiger moved with a deliberate, unhurried grace from the subtle elevation of the stone ridge, beginning a gentle descent into the quiet expanse of the woodland below. The ancient rocks, which had offered a silent vantage point overlooking the dark woodland, now receded into the soft moonlight, their lingering warmth slowly dissipating into the cooler night air as the tiger's journey continued. Each powerful limb lifted and settled with a hushed precision, guided by instincts as old as the quiet forest itself. The winding path downward, though unseen, was not a defined trail, but rather a memory of subtle slopes and interwoven roots, cushioned by layers of fallen leaves and the delicate debris of the summer season. The ground felt yielding beneath the large, cool paws, a testament to the slow accumulation of many seasons, offering a gentle, stable footing. As the tiger ventured deeper into the secluded hollow, the air grew perceptibly cooler, a welcome change from the lingering heat that had clung to the higher ground. The faint breeze that had stirred the leaves on the ridge now became a still, almost imperceptible breath within the denser undergrowth. only occasionally rustling a high branch with a soft, fleeting whisper. Shadows, once long and sharp on the open rock, softened and deepened, creating a patchwork of intricate shifting patterns across the forest floor. Tall grasses, still holding the day's warmth near their roots, brushed against the tiger's striped fur, which glimmered under the moon's pale glow, offering a gentle resistance that marked its silent passage. The canopy overhead became a deeper, more enveloping presence, filtering the starlight into scattered shimmering points like tiny diamonds sprinkled upon dark velvet, creating a calm night sky that seemed to watch over the sleepy woodland. A new scent began to reach its sensitive nostrils, subtle at first, then growing clearer and more inviting with every slow step. The cool, clean aroma of fresh water, distinct from the dry earth and distant flowering shrubs that had perfumed the higher grounds. It was a promise carried on the tranquil air, a gentle invitation in the silent night, a scent of stability and quiet life. The tiger's golden eyes, observing the path ahead, narrowed slightly, not in urgency, but in a soft, unfolding curiosity that guided its focus. It moved with even greater care now, its large, cool paws occasionally splashing lightly as it stepped into a shallow depression where moisture had collected, creating a momentary, soft release of earthy fragrance that hung gently in the air. This quiet interaction with the environment was a familiar comfort, a rhythmic part of its nocturnal wandering. The sounds of the quiet forest shifted once more, the distant calls of night birds fading to be replaced by the closer, more intimate symphony of unseen insects humming and chirping in the near stillness. The repetitive rhythm of their soft music filled the tranquil space, a constant lullaby in the peaceful wilderness, a steady, comforting presence that deepened the sense of calm. Deeper into the sheltered hollow, the air became wonderfully fresh, a cool pocket amidst the otherwise warm summer night. This unexpected coolness was a delightful discovery, a comforting contrast that promised something special, a perfect place for peaceful rest. The atmosphere grew heavy with the promise of deep relaxation, encouraging slow breathing. Then, through a final parting of ancient gnarled trees, their twisted branches reaching like quiet sentinels, and beside the looming forms of smooth boulders, the tiger discovered it. A secluded spring-fed pool lay perfectly still, a silent dark mirror nestled into the earth, its edges softened by moss and trailing vines that seemed to embrace its form. Its surface caught the pure, unfiltered light of the moon and the countless stars, transforming the calm night sky into a breathtaking, shimmering tapestry reflected below, creating an illusion of depth that seemed to reach to another, deeper world. Water gathered quietly from deep underground sources, its gentle murmur almost imperceptible to the ear, yet it created the most delicate, slow ripples that spread in lazy, expanding rings across the dark surface, reaching the mossy edges with a soft, persistent whisper. This quiet nature ambience was utterly soothing. The smooth boulders framing the pool were worn and rounded by countless seasons of rain and sun, their surfaces cool to the touch, having absorbed the night's peaceful chill into their very core. Some were draped with vibrant emerald moss, soft to the touch, while others presented bare, silvery faces beneath the moonbeams, their ancient, solid forms providing a feeling of robust safety and enduring strength. The tiger padded toward the very edge of the water, its movements slow and deliberate, a picture of calm breathing, its powerful frame radiating comfort and quiet purpose. Its soft whiskers trembled faintly as it lowered its head, reaching for the cool, clear liquid, a moment of profound stillness before contact, a pause for pure sensory focus. It drank slowly, each gentle lap of its tongue a tiny rhythmic punctuation in the profound stillness, a private moment of deep refreshment and peace in the still forest. The cool water was a soothing balm, easing the mild dryness of its throat after its long wanderings through the night. The water tasted of stone and earth, of the deep, hidden springs from which it flowed, pure and untouched, offering quiet sustenance to its powerful body. After its thirst was completely satisfied, the tiger did not move away immediately. Instead, it settled near the pool's edge, its powerful limbs folding beneath its body with a soft grace, creating a posture of deep relaxation, its striped fur glimmering faintly as the moonlight caressed its form. This was a moment of true comfort. The cool freshness rising from the water mingled perfectly with the warm summer air that still lingered in the hollow, creating a truly unique and comforting microclimate around the pool. A few small, luminous insects skimmed the surface of the pool, their tiny forms darting and pausing, leaving faint trails that quickly dissolved into the perfect reflections, a gentle ballet of the night. The tiger watched their silent dance with golden eyes, its gaze calm and unwavering, a quiet observer in this undisturbed sanctuary. Its tail gently swayed from side to side, a slow, rhythmic movement that spoke of profound rest and inner peace, a calm presence in the peaceful wilderness. The gentle sounds of water and stone, the delicate lapping, the nearly silent flow of the spring, all combined with the distant, muted hum of the jungle night to form a calming ambiance that enveloped the entire space. There was a sense of utter stability here, a deep reassurance in the presence of this hidden water source, offering a haven of complete safety and unwavering stillness. The tiger settled further, its body heavy and completely relaxed against the cool earth and soft grasses that grew near the boulders, nestled among the quiet foliage. It found immense comfort in the quiet presence of the ancient stones and the shimmering surface of the pool, feeling the solid ground beneath it, a secure foundation. As the night approached its deepest hours, a profound stillness enveloped the secluded spot, a deep sleep descending upon the world. The world outside, with its winding paths and distant ridges, seemed far away, leaving only this perfectly peaceful clearing, a silent nature retreat where time seemed to slow. The tiger remained by the moonlit water, its powerful, restful presence adding to the profound tranquility of the scene. It was a moment suspended in time, a feeling of absolute safety and gentle peace, where the quiet flow of water offered a soothing, constant presence. The subtle glow of moonlight continued to bathe the area, making every leaf and stone appear with a softened edge, inviting deep rest. The tiger's breath rose and fell in a steady, calm rhythm, a testament to the quiet comfort it found in this secret place. It would rest here for a while longer, allowing the night's calm to fully embrace its being, before continuing its slow, gentle journey deeper into the sleepy woodland, drawn by the gentle night ambience towards new quiet discoveries and the unfolding mysteries of the quiet forest. Chapter 5. Leaving the cool, smooth stones surrounding the secluded pool, the tiger padded slowly onward through the deepest part of the night. The faint, steady murmur of the underground spring receded, replaced by the hushed whispers of the jungle's hidden depths. A subtle shift in the air, a delicate change in the scent upon the gentle night breeze, suggested a new place was drawing near. The warmth of the summer evening, though still present, held a different quality here, hinting at a sheltered space ahead. The forest paths grew softer, the earth beneath the tiger's large, cool paws becoming more yielding and covered with a fine layer of leaf litter. Ahead, the dense wall of tropical shrubs and trees seemed to open, revealing a subtle, almost imperceptible entrance into a hollow. This was not a sudden opening, but rather a gradual invitation into a quieter pocket of the landscape, a place where the air grew stiller. Golden eyes observing, the tiger continued its unhurried progression, its movements reflecting the calm of the surrounding environment. As the great creature moved deeper, the first tiny specks of light began to appear, shimmering softly amongst the dark foliage. They were not the bright, constant gleam of distant stars or the pale, silvered wash of the moon that had guided its earlier journey. Instead, these were living lights, small and fleeting, appearing and disappearing with a tranquil rhythm. The tiger's striped fur, a pattern of deep gold and velvet black, caught the occasional flicker as it passed beneath low-hanging branches. This was a valley, a sheltered hollow, embraced on all sides by the quiet forest. Within its gentle confines, countless fireflies began their silent aerial dance. They drifted through the darkness like tiny emerald gold lanterns, each one a miniature spark against the deep indigo of the night. Their soft light pulsed, a slow, hypnotic beat across the leaves and branches, creating an ever-changing tapestry of illumination. Some lights hovered low, almost touching the damp earth, while others rose higher, disappearing briefly into the denser canopy before reappearing in another spot. The air within this hidden valley felt distinctly cooler, a refreshing contrast to the general warmth of the summer night. It carried a unique blend of sweet summer fragrances, a subtle perfume rising from unseen blossoms that thrived in the sheltered microclimate. The scent of rich, damp earth mingled with the airy sweetness, creating a comforting blanket of olfactory sensations. The quiet rustle of invisible wings, the soft tremor of insects moving through the undergrowth, added to the peaceful ambience without ever breaking the profound stillness. The tiger moved carefully, its powerful limbs carrying it with a gentle grace through the living light. Each step was placed with a deliberate slowness, its broad shoulders moving fluidly as it navigated the uneven ground. The fireflies did not scatter in panic. Instead, they simply continued their tranquil ballet, their patterns shifting around the silent, passing form. It was as if the valley itself held a breath, observing this solitary journey. A soft mystery hung in the air, woven into the delicate light and the quiet hum of the night. The tiger paused, golden eyes observing the ethereal display. A single firefly might glow briefly on a leaf close by, its tiny beacon reflecting in the tiger's immense calm gaze before fading into the encompassing dark. Then, another light would ignite nearby, a continuous, comforting cycle of appearance and disappearance. The feeling of safety here was profound, a stability held within the quiet beauty of the natural world. The long whiskers, fine and sensitive, occasionally trembled as the tiger drew a slow breath, absorbing the unique essence of this serene place. Its tail gently swayed, a rhythmic counterpoint to the silent pulsing of the lights. There was no urgency, only a deep immersion in the unfolding moment. The quiet forest felt vast, yet this hollow was a sanctuary, a contained world of soft radiance. The glowing fireflies painted the undergrowth with fleeting strokes of light. A patch of ferns might be illuminated in a delicate shimmer, then plunge back into shadow as the tiny light-bearer moved on. The patterns across the ground were like slow-moving constellations, miniature celestial bodies reflecting on the moist earth. The very act of watching them created a sense of deep relaxation, an unspoken invitation to simply exist within this gentle night ambience. The soft light seemed to cling to the leaves, highlighting the veins and textures of the dense shrubs that formed the valley's protective walls. Every branch, every cluster of foliage became a canvas for this silent, luminous art. The tiger continued its wandering jungle paths through this wonder, a creature moving through a living dream. The surrounding trees, tall and ancient, stood as quiet guardians, their upper branches just visible against the faint, distant gleam of the actual moon. With each measured step, the tiger followed the subtle curves of the hollow. The ground remained soft, a carpet of fallen leaves and earth, cushioning every movement. The steady, quiet progression through this firefly-lit realm was a testament to the unchanging rhythms of the night. The tiger's presence was a calm thread woven into the fabric of this peaceful wilderness, a silent observer within the sleeping woodland. The slow passage through the luminous valley was a journey deeper into the tranquil heart of the summer night. It moved without haste, leaving the valley's soft glow to ripple quietly behind it, carrying the stillness into the next phase of its nocturnal exploration. Chapter 6. The quiet beauty of the Firefly Valley had slowly receded into the passing hours, becoming a warm, shimmering memory as the night deepened and then began its long, imperceptible retreat. Time flowed with the same calm certainty as the unseen currents within the earth, carrying the tiger onward through the vastness of the silent landscape. After a long, unhurried traverse across terrain that remained cloaked in the deep, soft veils of summer darkness, the powerful creature found itself emerging onto a wide riverbank where smooth sand stretched out like a pale, sleeping ribbon. Overhead, the constellation of countless stars, once brilliant and sharp, now seemed to possess a delicate, fading quality. Their distant lights, which had sparkled with such intensity earlier in the night, were beginning to soften, as if yielding their dominion to an approaching subtle change in the deep, peaceful sky. The very fabric of the night, while still dominant and all-encompassing, held within its quiet depths the first, almost imperceptible hints of a coming transformation. A profound stillness hung in the air, a natural pause before the gentle stirrings of a new day. The broad surface of the river, wide and unhurried, mirrored these last bright stars with a serene and deep reflection. Each faint point of light appeared twice, once in the immense canvas above and again in the flowing liquid mirror below, creating a comforting symmetry. Soft currents moved steadily through the dark water, an endlessly recurring sound, a deep, rhythmic sigh that whispered against the sandy banks. This constant, quiet flow created a natural backdrop to the tiger's presence, a continuous melody of the wilderness. The smooth sand beneath the tiger's paws felt warm, retaining a lingering trace of yesterday's sun, a stored heat that now offered a subtle comfort against the gradually cooling air of the pre-dawn. With each slow, deliberate step, the tiger's padded feet made only the softest impression upon the fine grains, a momentary mark soon smoothed away by the wind or the slow shift of the riverbank itself. This was a place of soft textures and ancient movements, where time seemed to unfold with an unhurried grace. As the tiger began padding along the river's edge, its striped fur, a familiar pattern in the deepening twilight, moved with a fluid elegance. The animal's golden eyes observed the quiet expanse of the water, watching the occasional, almost silent rise of a fish, creating a fleeting ripple on the surface. These small, gentle disturbances quickly faded, leaving the river to its reflective stillness once more. The sound of the flowing water was a constant companion, a deep, comforting murmur that filled the vastness of the quiet night. The subtle transformation in the sky grew with an almost imperceptible pace. Along the eastern horizon, a faint, almost milky haze began to dilute the indigo expanse, suggesting the distant promise of light. It was not a sudden arrival, but a slow, unfolding revelation, a gentle hint of the lavender and rose that would eventually paint the awakening world. The air, though still holding the coolness of the deep night, also carried a very slight shift, a delicate freshening that spoke of the approaching dawn. The tiger moved slowly along the water's edge, its powerful limbs carrying it with an effortless grace. It paused to listen to the soft rustling of reeds that grew in scattered patches along the riverbank, their slender forms swaying gently in the barely there breeze. These sounds were woven into the larger tapestry of the river's hush, a quiet harmony of nature settling into its nocturnal rhythm before the turning of the day. Every movement was calm, every observation unhurried. A deep sense of stillness settled around the wandering jungle paths and the wide river itself. The world felt peaceful and stable, completely absorbed in the slow shift from darkness to the lightest shade of gray. The tiger continued its journey, a silent presence against the vast dark canvas. The air carried the damp, earthy scent of the riverbed, mingling with a faint, sweet aroma from unseen blossoms carried on the soft currents of air. These smells were subtle, layered, and comforting. The approach of dawn was a gentle whisper, not a roar. It brought with it a feeling of soft mystery, a quiet curiosity about what the growing light would reveal. The tiger's steady progress was a part of this ancient unfolding ritual, moving through the lingering shadows while the world prepared for its daily rebirth. The river flowed on, an unchanging constant, its surface now reflecting fewer stars, as the very darkest points of the night sky began to dissolve. Rest seemed a distant thought for the traveling tiger, yet its movements were imbued with a profound sense of ease. There was no urgency, only a continuous, unhurried padding through the yielding sand. The cool paws splashing occasionally into the shallow water at the river's edge offered a refreshing touch against the warmth held within its large, strong body. This rhythmic contact with the river was a comforting sensation, a natural part of its journey. The tiger occasionally lifted its head, soft whiskers trembling slightly as it sampled the faint breezes. These almost imperceptible movements of air carried ever so subtle variations in scent, small signals from the world that was beginning to stir in its deep slumber. The silence was not empty, but rich with the quiet sounds of the water, the distant rustling of unseen leaves, and the barely audible stirrings of creatures hidden from view. The vastness of the river stretched out, a wide, flat plain that offered an expansive view of the dissolving night. The far bank remained a dark, indistinct line, a peaceful boundary against the softening sky. There was a profound feeling of safety in this open space, a calm reassurance in the predictable progression of the night turning toward day. The tiger's presence on this riverbank was a moment of pure, uninterrupted tranquility. As the pre-dawn deepened its quiet embrace, the tiger continued its steady pace, following the gentle curve of the river. The sense of comfort in this nocturnal passage was profound, a deep inner calm that matched the outer stillness of the environment. The impending dawn was still a promise, a soft expectation, a gradual lightening that would soon bring new colors to the world. But for now, the deep, dark night held a special, quiet magic, with its fading stars and the continuous whisper of the flowing river. The faint light from the eastern sky painted the upper edges of distant clouds with the softest, almost unnoticeable blush, a preliminary stroke of color on a canvas still dominated by the deep blues and purples of night. The air grew a touch cooler, a refreshing contrast to the retained heat of the sand and the tiger's own warm fur. This gentle shift in temperature was another subtle signal of the world's slow turning. The journey along the riverbank was a peaceful meditation, a rhythmic movement through a landscape that gradually revealed its new intentions. Each soft rustle in the unseen bushes, each gentle splash from the river, contributed to a harmonious blend of sounds that encouraged a deeper sense of relaxation. The tiger moved with the quiet dignity of a creature perfectly attuned to its surroundings, a natural part of the slow, majestic progression of the night. The stillness of the vast expanse felt deeply comforting as the night continued its beautiful, silent transformation toward the first glimmer of dawn. Chapter 7. The river, a companion for a long stretch of the night, had gradually widened into a low-lying area. Here, the water no longer flowed in a distinct channel, but spread thinly across the earth, creating broad, shallow sheets that reflected the lingering depths of the nocturnal sky. The air, which had hinted at change by the riverbanks in the fading hours of deep night, now carried a distinct coolness, a gentle breath announcing the subtle shift from night's profound hush to dawn's soft arrival. Above the horizon, the pale lavender tones of approaching dawn began to unfurl with immense slowness. These soft hues spread gradually, painting the distant, wispy clouds with quiet brushes of color, as if an unseen artist were working with infinite patience. They slowly pushed back the lingering deep blues and grays of the fading night, replacing them with a lighter, more ethereal canopy. The last bright stars that had mirrored on the river's surface now seemed to melt imperceptibly into the brightening expanse above, their distant sparkle growing dim, almost absorbed by the rising tranquil light. The tiger, following forest trails that hugged the broadening waterway, moved into a vast reed marsh. This sprawling wetland stretched far across the landscape, a natural border between the river and the emerging land. Tall, slender reeds, reaching skyward with a delicate grace, formed a whispering forest of their own, their sturdy stalks densely packed together. Each reed swayed with a gentle rhythm, stirred by an almost imperceptible breeze that circulated through the damp air. Thin ribbons of mist, low-lying and ethereal, threaded themselves between the upright stems, like soft white scarves draped across the awakening land, clinging close to the damp earth. The tiger's golden eyes, observing the subtle changes in the environment, took in the unfolding scene with a quiet attentiveness. Its padding through reeds was almost silent, disturbing only the smallest droplets of dew clinging to the broad, flat leaves of the marsh plants. A profound stillness settled over the entire marsh, broken only by the soft, brushing rustle of the reeds against each other and the distant, quiet chirping of a lone bird. This first tentative note was a gentle herald, a melody of dawn that seemed to float on the moist, cool air, carrying with it a sense of unfolding newness and peaceful promise. Moisture gathered everywhere within this vast, tranquil space. It beaded on the long, flat surfaces of the reeds and on the delicate spiderwebs stretched between them, catching the earliest, most fragile hints of light. Each tiny drop held a miniature, shimmering reflection of the expanding lavender sky, a fleeting jewel in the growing light. The air, cool and fresh against the tiger's soft whiskers trembling slightly as it inhaled, carried the clean, earthy scent of damp soil mixed with the subtle, green fragrance of growing plants. It was a unique aroma of renewal, a peaceful and grounding scent that filled the vast expanse of the marsh. The summer warmth, a persistent presence through the long night, now felt uniquely gentle at this early hour. It was a lingering warmth from the earth itself, not a new heat from the sun, comforting in its deep familiarity. The mist, watching drifting mist as it curled and unwound in languid patterns, held this warmth close to the ground, creating a hazy, soft layer that blurred the distant edges of the marshland. This created an intimate, enclosed feeling, even in such an open space, adding to the calm ambience. Small birds, still mostly hidden within the dense vegetation of the reeds, began to offer their tentative notes. They were soft, experimental calls, not yet the full, vibrant chorus of the coming day, but rather quiet awakenings. These sounds wove themselves into the quiet rustle of the reeds, becoming part of the marsh's calm and unfolding morning symphony. The tiger paused near the edge of a shallow, misty pool, its cool paws splashing lightly as it stepped into the very shallow water. Pausing near water, its striped fur glimmering faintly as the light strengthened further with each passing minute. This was a landscape awakening with measured grace and slowly unfolding beauty. The transition from night to day here was not a sudden burst, but a continuous, gentle unfurling, like the delicate petals of a large, unseen waterflower. The tiger, exploring hidden clearings within the marsh, moved with an unhurried dignity, its powerful limbs carrying it effortlessly through the damp ground and the shallow, cool water. Its journey continued onward, each slowly placed step a seamless continuation of the night's long passage, yet now bathed in the nascent, hopeful light of a new summer morning. The cool air felt revitalizing, a natural invitation to rest after the extended nocturnal wanderings. The profound comfort of this slow emergence was palpable, a deep sense of well-being settling over the landscape. The tiger moved with purposeful ease, moving through undergrowth that gave way to more open stretches of water and reed beds, gazing across wetlands as it went. The marsh was a world unto itself, a place where the edges of land and water blurred into one another, where sunlight was born anew each day from the mists. The lavender softened further, yielding to faint rose and palest gold along the ever-brightening horizon. The mist began to lift, dissolving slowly into the vastness of the sky, revealing more of the lush, vibrant green reeds beneath, now glistening with dew. The sounds of waking life grew incrementally louder, yet never lost their inherent gentle quality. Everything in the marsh seemed to stir with a deep, inherent stillness, a quiet preparation for the full light of morning. The tiger settled briefly among a thick clump of reeds, finding a natural alcove, nestling among grasses with a sense of natural comfort, its gaze directed toward the distant eastern line where the sky continued its silent and majestic performance. There was a sense of profound, peaceful observation, a quiet appreciation for the world's steady turning and its dependable rhythms. This moment held the essence of the day's first moments, a promise of warmth and life, slowly growing from the remnants of the long night. The cool morning air, laden with the scent of damp earth and fresh growth, circled around the tiger's powerful frame. It was a calm sensation, a quiet reassurance after the extended wanderings of the dark hours. The soft light continued to expand, pushing back the last lingering shadows from the deepest parts of the marsh. Each individual reed, each delicate blade of grass began to reveal its distinct form and vibrant color, waking fully from the deep slumber of night. The gentle stirring of birds grew into a more consistent yet still soft and melodic chorus. Their calls echoed across the expansive misty water, adding layers to the peaceful soundscape, a symphony of natural awakening. The tiger, its tail gently swaying almost imperceptibly as it remained in stillness, watched the subtle play of light on the water, the way the surface reflected the changing sky in ripples of color. This was a moment of serene transformation, a quiet spectacle for golden eyes observing the world's renewal. The marsh held a profound sense of comfort, a safe, natural space for the tiger to traverse as the sun prepared its full ascent. The long journey through the night was now almost complete, replaced by the calm, slowly unfolding wonders of a new summer dawn. The light, ever so slightly brighter, beckoned towards the next stage of the day. Chapter 8. The subtle lavender hues of the awakening marsh faded almost imperceptibly behind the tiger as it transitioned from the swaying, dewy reeds. Each quiet step carried it forward, away from the evaporating mists and into a new landscape where the promise of the full day was now being gently realized. The sky, which had only just begun to hint at its daytime colors, now opened fully, a vast and peaceful canvas above the earth. A wide, open clearing lay before the creature, bathed in a soft, developing radiance. This expansive area was adorned with wild summer flowers, their petals unfurling gracefully to greet the ascending sun. It was a space where vibrant life stirred with a tranquil purpose, a quiet forest tableau. The very air felt different here, lighter, carrying a new kind of warmth and an abundance of sweet, fresh scents. The sunlight, having slowly crept over the distant horizon, now spilled into the clearing, transforming the scene into a breathtaking tapestry of pure gold. It was a deep, reassuring golden light washing over every blade of grass, every delicate blossom, and every small, slumbering insect. The tiger's striped fur glimmered with this new illumination as it stepped into the heart of the floral haven, its powerful limbs moving with an inherent, slow grace, following forest trails that wound gently through the blooming expanse. Tiny dewdrops, jewels of the morning, still clung to the edges of the wild petals, catching the golden light and refracting it into countless shimmering points. The entire clearing seemed to hold a quiet inner glow, a gentle celebration of the day's peaceful arrival. Butterflies with wings like painted glass began to drift lazily from one blossom to another. Their silent, unhurried flight was a soft mystery, a delicate ballet performed purely for the warmth of the sun. Beneath the growing warmth, a soft buzzing sound began to rise. It was the calm, steady hum of bees busily at work among the blossoms. They moved with a slow, deliberate rhythm, gathering nectar, their tiny bodies dusted with golden pollen. This gentle drone added another layer to the peaceful soundscape of the clearing, a testament to the quiet industry of silent nature. The tiger paused momentarily, its soft whiskers trembling just slightly as it took in the subtle vibrations of the morning. A rich tapestry of fragrances filled the comfortable air. Fresh scents, delicate and varied, rose from the petals warmed by the ever-strengthening sunlight. The sweet, earthy perfume of the summer blossoms mingled with the clean green aroma of the leaves, creating a soothing and complex bouquet that drifted on the lightest of breezes. It was a scent that spoke of growth and new beginnings, a deeply relaxing aroma that enveloped the peaceful wilderness, offering a feeling of safety and stability. The warmth of summer slowly increased, no longer merely the hint of dawn, but a comforting, pervasive heat that spread across the land. It touched the tiger's golden eyes, warming the sensitive fur around its face and soaking into its powerful frame. The feeling of comfort grew with the light. The quiet stillness that lingered from the night began to give way to a gentle, active calm, where every rustle and hum was part of the pervasive peace. The tiger continued its unhurried journey, a silent presence among the busy, unperturbed life of the clearing. It explored hidden clearings within the larger space, moving through undergrowth that brushed softly against its side. Each step was deliberate, a slow progression through this peaceful morning. The activity of the insects and the drifting butterflies remained undisturbed by the great creature's passage. It was a moment of perfect harmony, where all elements of the natural world coexisted in serene balance, a deep relaxation settling over the landscape. As the tiger neared the far edge of the floral expanse, the golden light seemed to deepen, casting longer, softer shadows from the trees that bordered the clearing. The air grew even more still, heavy with the growing heat and the accumulated perfume of the flowers. The day had fully unfolded, stretching out before the wild world. The tiger's tail gently swayed with each slow, rhythmic step, a quiet pendulum marking the peaceful passage of time, its mind relaxation a reflection of the calm all around it. Leaving the vibrant, blossom-filled space behind, the tiger moved toward the gentle shade of taller trees where the promise of continued tranquility awaited. The memory of the golden breath of morning, the soft buzzing, and the sweet scents lingered in the warming air, a comforting thought as the day progressed and the journey continued, following forest trails further into the quiet day. The steady march of morning light across the landscape had concluded its initial expansion, preparing for the deeper, more pervasive warmth of the hours ahead, leading towards another kind of shelter and rest. Chapter 9. The sun, now higher above the landscape, poured its radiant warmth across the open spaces, touching the clearing of summer flowers with an intensifying glow. The morning's light, which had earlier been a soft invitation, gradually deepened, suggesting the full strength of the day was beginning to unfold. The air, already mild, grew steadily warmer, and the lingering cool freshness of dawn began to recede, leaving behind a pervasive, balmy haze that shimmered gently over the distant plains. The tiger, having wandered peacefully through the sun-kissed blossoms, now sensed the increasing heat settling upon its fur. Each powerful limb moved with quiet deliberation, carrying it onward from the open expanse where butterflies had danced and bees had buzzed contentedly. A new destination, one of deeper shade and more profound stillness, seemed to call from the horizon. The journey through the early hours of this summer day had been one of constant yet gentle progression, moving from the silvered quiet of night to the lavender hues of dawn, and then into the bright, golden awakening of morning. Now the natural rhythm of the day suggested a shift, a seeking of comfort and repose. Slowly, the edges of the open land began to give way to the silhouettes of more substantial trees. What first appeared as a distant patch of dense foliage gradually resolved itself into a majestic canopy, sprawling across the landscape like a green, ancient cloud. It was a vast banyan grove, a living cathedral woven from countless branches and roots, promising respite from the day's advancing warmth. The very air seemed to change as the tiger approached, losing some of its sun-baked intensity and taking on a subtle, earthy coolness. Entering the grove was like stepping into a different time, a place where sunlight was a memory rather than a direct presence. The dense canopies of the banyan trees intertwined high above, creating an intricate roof of leaves and branches that filtered the bright sky into 1,000 shifting patterns of light and shadow on the ground below. Patches of sun, small and soft, speckled the earth, moving like slow, golden coins across the quiet forest floor as the day advanced. The overwhelming sense was one of profound comfort, a natural shelter from the increasing heat. Thick aerial roots, like ancient gnarled columns, descended from the high branches, anchoring themselves into the earth. These living pillars formed natural corridors and secluded chambers within the grove, inviting quiet exploration. Each root, textured and strong, told a silent story of centuries, holding the immense structure together with unwavering stillness. The air within these root-formed passages was remarkably cool, a stark and welcoming contrast to the outside world, carrying the deep, damp scent of rich soil and decaying leaves. This earthy fragrance filled the senses with a feeling of grounded peace. The tiger padded through these natural pathways, its movements soft and unhurried. The cool earth beneath its powerful paws offered a welcome sensation, absorbing the warmth that had gathered from the journey across the open clearing. Golden eyes observed the silent drama of the grove, the slow dance of dust motes in the filtered light, the delicate tracery of veins on a fallen leaf, the smooth curve of an ancient root. There was no urgency, only a calm acceptance of the shelter offered by this grand, sprawling tree. Above, within the vast expanse of leaves, hidden birds chirped soft, intermittent notes, their calls muffled by the sheer volume of foliage. The gentle rustle of leaves high overhead created a continuous, peaceful whisper, a natural lullaby that underscored the profound stillness of the grove. It was a sound that spoke of gentle movement, of a living, breathing environment, yet one that encouraged rest rather than activity. Occasional soft breezes stirred through the hanging roots, circulating the cool air and carrying the subtle, sweet scent of unseen flowers from deep within the grove's heart. Finding a secluded spot nestled among a cluster of broad roots, where the shade was deepest and the ground soft with layers of fallen leaves, the tiger settled down. With a quiet sigh that barely disturbed the air, it stretched its powerful limbs, a movement of complete relaxation. Its magnificent striped fur, which had glimmered under the morning sun, now blended seamlessly with the play of light and shadow, becoming almost invisible in the dappled gloom. This was a place of true repose, a sanctuary found amidst the growing intensity of the summer day. The tiger lay there, its gaze peaceful, observing the slow, quiet life that unfolded around it. A small beetle ambled across a patch of moss nearby, its journey as deliberate and unhurried as the tiger's own. A single ray of filtered sunlight, a mere thread of gold, slowly traversed a hanging root, marking the passage of time without haste or insistence. The world outside, with its increasing warmth and brightness, felt comfortably distant. This pause within the banyan's cool embrace was more than just a physical resting place. It was a moment of deep stillness for the mind, a silent communion with the ancient peace of the grove. The continuous journey, which had carried the tiger through the long night and the unfolding morning, now allowed for this gentle interlude. It was a time to simply be, to absorb the profound quiet and the comforting coolness that permeated every fiber of this unique, living structure. The sounds of the forest, softened by the dense canopy, became a continuous, comforting hum. The distant call of a cuckoo, the whirring of cicadas from sunnier patches further away, all woven into a tapestry of gentle ambient noise that encouraged deep relaxation. There was no need for movement, no call to action, only the soft rhythm of breathing and the steady beat of life within the grove. The tiger rested, completely safe and profoundly at ease, allowing the peaceful stillness to settle deep within its very being, a tranquil anchor in the flow of the summer day. This calm pause was a gentle gift, a period of quiet restoration before the journey would eventually resume, leading onward from the banyan's ancient, cool embrace towards the next chapter of its peaceful wandering. Chapter 10. Beyond the vast ancient banyan grove, where hanging roots had offered such a profound, cool embrace, the land gradually opened into a different kind of sanctuary. The tiger emerged from the banyan's deep, gentle shade, stepping into a space where the air itself seemed to thicken with a new, sweet promise. This was a rural mango orchard stretching out under the strengthening sun of an Indian summer morning in 1973. The light, which had been softly filtered and dappled within the banyan's canopy, now held a clearer, warmer golden hue, illuminating rows of trees heavy with their ripening, abundant fruit. The morning remained perfectly quiet, holding a stillness that allowed the subtle perfumes of the land to truly unfold. Farmers, whose presence would later bring a gentle hum of activity, were still distant, their morning routines not yet reaching this serene heart of the orchard. The air, already rich with the earthy scent of the banyan grove, now took on an overwhelmingly sweet fragrance, a deep, pervasive aroma of mangoes nearing their peak ripeness. Each gentle breath of air carried this delightful scent, a comforting blanket woven from nature's bounty. Golden fruit hung suspended among glossy, dark green leaves, catching the increasing brightness of the sun. Some mangoes were a soft, muted green, others blushed with a gentle yellow, and many displayed vibrant streaks of orange and crimson, signaling their sweet readiness. The sight created a sense of peaceful abundance, a generous offering from the season. The tiger moved slowly, its powerful limbs carrying it with an unhurried grace between the shaded rows. Its striped fur glimmered subtly as it passed through patches of light that pierced the leafy canopy overhead. The ground beneath its large, cool paws was a mixture of soft, dry earth and scattered decaying mango leaves, creating a muffled sound with each step. Small, industrious insects, drawn by the irresistible sweetness, created a soft, continuous buzzing. This gentle hum blended with the distant, almost imperceptible rustle of leaves, creating a soothing, natural symphony that filled the quiet spaces of the orchard. The tiger's golden eyes observed the slow dance of tiny, iridescent flies around the ripe fruit, their delicate movements adding to the scene's tranquility. It paused near a particularly laden tree, its whiskers trembling slightly as it took in the concentrated fragrance. The warmth of the summer sun continued to grow, a steady, comforting presence on its back, yet the dense foliage of the mango trees offered plentiful, inviting pockets of shade. Moving through the undergrowth of the orchard felt like wandering through a fragrant, living maze, each turn revealing another vista of glossy leaves and hanging treasures. The tiger's tail gently swayed, a slow, rhythmic motion that spoke of its deep calm and contentment within this peaceful environment. The rows seemed to stretch on, creating an expanse of gentle repetition, a harmonious pattern of tree, fruit, and shadow. Each step forward was a progression through the sensory richness, a quiet journey deeper into the heart of the morning. There was no urgency in its movements, only a steady, measured exploration, savoring each new scent and every subtle shift in light and shadow. The sun's rays grew a little brighter, casting longer, more defined stripes of light and dark across the orchard floor, highlighting the textures of bark and the smooth surfaces of the ripening fruit. The peaceful solitude of the orchard was profound. It allowed for a deep observation of the simple wonders of the season, the way a single leaf caught the light, the subtle curve of a ripening mango, the patient buzzing of a bee moving from unseen flower to flower. This quiet immersion in the natural world brought a unique kind of rest, a mental stillness that matched the physical calm of its slow passage. The air remained thick with the sweet tropical perfume, a constant, gentle companion. After some time, the tiger reached the edge of the cultivated area, where the rows began to thin and the trees grew a little wilder. It looked out toward what lay beyond, the land stretching out, slowly revealing the next part of its journey under the now fully bright morning sky. The memory of the banyan's cool embrace lingered, but the rich, sweet essence of the mango orchard had now become the dominant, comforting sensation of this unfolding summer day. The sun, climbing higher, promised further warmth, and the journey would continue, with the same unhurried calm and gentle curiosity guiding its way. Chapter 11. The air, which had carried the sweet perfume of ripe mangoes, began to change. A subtle dryness, a hint of mineral dust, now mingled with the fading orchard fragrances as the tiger moved beyond the cultivated rows. The ground beneath its large, soft paws, once shaded and moist from fallen leaves, started to firm and lighten in color. A gentle incline led away from the familiar trees, guiding the magnificent creature towards new, more open expanses. Each deliberate step carried it further from the intimate coolness of the banyan grove and the generous shade of the fruit-laden orchard into a space where the sky stretched wider and the sun's presence grew more dominant. Slowly the landscape transformed. The rich, dark soil gave way to a reddish earth, a deep, warm hue that seemed to absorb and reflect the increasing light of the late morning. This was elevated ground, a plateau where the land rose gently, offering expansive views under the clear, bright sky. The tiger's powerful limbs moved with a steady, unhurried rhythm, carrying its striped fur, which glimmered in the growing sunlight, across this new terrain. The air itself began to feel thinner, clearer, carrying with it only the faintest whispers of wind, rustling through the tough, low-lying shrubs that dotted the open space. The red earth stretched out, a canvas of deep terracotta beneath an increasingly powerful sun. As the tiger progressed, a peculiar phenomenon became visible. Heat waves, soft and shimmering, began to dance above the distant stretches of the plateau. They rose from the sun-baked ground in gentle, wavering curtains, distorting the farthest outlines of the land and sky. Yet this visual warmth was not harsh or alarming. It simply illustrated the strengthening presence of the summer day, a quiet display of the season's enduring power. The sky above remained an immense, calm blue, vast and undisturbed. Sparse vegetation found its footing in this drier environment. Tufts of resilient straw-colored grass grew in scattered patches, their blades stiff and dry, rustling with the softest breath of wind. Occasional low, hardy bushes, their leaves small and leathery, offered isolated pockets of meager shade. The tiger passed by these, sometimes pausing briefly in the fleeting coolness cast by a slightly larger shrub, but never lingering. Its journey was one of continuous, gentle progression, a steady advance across the warming landscape. The earth itself felt warm under its padded feet, a consistent, comforting heat radiating from the ground. Dry summer scents now dominated the air. The faint, sweet notes of earlier blossoms had dissipated, replaced by the earthy aroma of sun-dried soil, mingled with the subtle, resinous fragrance of the hardy plants. It was a clean, ancient scent, evocative of long, sun-drenched days and quiet, patient seasons. The tiger's soft whiskers trembled almost imperceptibly as it took in these new smells, processing the subtle messages carried on the still air. Its senses were perfectly attuned to the slow unfolding of its surroundings, finding familiarity and peace even in the changing conditions. The tiger traveled steadily, but with a natural slowness, a deliberate conservation of energy under the increasing warmth. Its movements were fluid and graceful, a picture of natural efficiency. Each step was placed with care, no wasted motion, no rush to conquer the distance. This was a patient journey, undertaken with a deep, calm understanding of the day's rhythm. The golden eyes observed the distant horizons, tracing the vague, softened lines where the red earth met the pale, shimmering sky. There was no specific destination visible, only the peaceful, unfolding expanse. The sun climbed higher, its warmth spreading evenly across the broad plateau. The light intensified, casting strong, short shadows directly beneath the sparse bushes. Even so, the feeling remained one of deep relaxation, a continuous flow. The tiger's striped fur, a marvel of natural camouflage, absorbed the sunlight, its patterns seeming to ripple with the heat. Yet the animal's movements remained cool and collected, its internal rhythm perfectly matched to the quiet stillness of the late morning. This period of the day, with its strengthening light and growing warmth, was an accepted part of the summer cycle. There was a peaceful acceptance in the tiger's demeanor, a quiet harmony with the changing conditions of its world. The vastness of the red soil plateau, stretching out seemingly without end, offered a profound sense of open space and comforting stability. There were no sudden changes here, only the steady, predictable increase of the sun's golden embrace. The tiger's journey across the plateau continued, a solitary, calm passage. It seemed to embody the very essence of patience, its presence a testament to the enduring beauty of the wilderness, even under the full strength of the morning sun. The air, though warm, was also still and quiet, amplifying the soft rustle of dry grasses and the occasional distant hum of insects. Every sound was gentle, every sight a soft tableau, designed to soothe and settle the mind. As the tiger neared the far edge of the plateau, the distant shimmering of heat waves grew less pronounced, replaced by the subtle suggestion of an approaching change in elevation. The land ahead promised a different kind of terrain, perhaps a gentle dip, or the hint of more substantial shelter from the midday sun. The red earth, which had been its steady companion for a stretch of the morning, gradually began to show variations in texture and shade, promising a quiet transition into whatever lay beyond this wide, sun-warmed expanse. The thought of cool comfort was a gentle undercurrent to the steady rhythm of its paws. Chapter 12. The red soil plateau, which had shimmered beneath the late morning sun, gradually gave way to a landscape subtly changed, rising and falling in soft, rolling undulations. The tiger, its powerful limbs moving with unhurried precision, followed a winding natural path. The air continued to hold the potent warmth of the high summer day, though a faint, almost imperceptible shift in the quality of the light suggested the midday peak was drawing nearer. The heat, while never harsh or unwelcome in its predictability, encouraged a search for deeper comfort, a gentle respite from the broad, open expanse. As the tiger moved with its habitual steady pace, the ground beneath its paws began to transform. The loose red earth became interspersed with larger, more solid formations. Gradually, weathered rock outcrops started to appear, their surfaces smoothed by countless seasons of wind and sun. These stones, a soft, pale sandstone, retained a deep warmth from the morning sun, yet their presence promised a different kind of relief. The tiger's golden eyes observed the subtle contours of the land, taking in the patterns of light and shadow that now played across the rising stone. Before long, a distinct feature emerged from the sun-drenched landscape. A shallow sandstone overhang presented itself, a natural cavern carved patiently by time into the side of a low, quiet cliff face. It was not a deep cave, but rather a comforting alcove, an inviting curve of ancient rock that offered immediate and noticeable shade. The tiger approached this sanctuary with a calm, assured gait, its striped fur glimmering faintly in the transitioning light before it stepped into the cooler space. Entering the overhang felt like passing through an invisible threshold. The air within was distinctly different, carrying a welcome coolness that contrasted gently with the persistent warmth of the open land. It was a haven, a place of quiet stillness, where the fierce intensity of the summer sun was softened into diffused light. The sandstone walls themselves radiated a stored coolness, a silent promise of comfort. The tiger's soft whiskers trembled slightly as it took in the new scents of damp earth and ancient stone that lingered within the natural chamber. The floor of this natural shelter was smooth and relatively flat, worn by countless generations of wind and water. Fine, pale dust lay thinly scattered across the surface, stirred only by the softest of breezes that occasionally circulated through the opening. The tiger moved further inside, settling beneath the deepest part of the overhang. Its body, accustomed to long periods of movement, now welcomed this quiet pause. With a sigh that was almost imperceptible, it lowered itself to the cool, comforting stone, its powerful limbs stretching out and then relaxing fully. From this sheltered vantage point, the tiger gazed out over a quiet ravine that lay beyond the overhang. Sunlight, bright and clear, illuminated the ravine, painting its slopes in various shades of ochre and burnt sienna. Sparse, hardy shrubs clung to the sides of the gorge, their leaves a muted green against the dominant red and brown of the earth. The light caught the occasional movement of small lizards that rested on warm rocks, their scaled bodies motionless save for the gentle flicker of their throats. These creatures were undisturbed, existing in their own peaceful world, a testament to the pervading sense of stability. A very gentle breeze drifted through the opening of the overhang, carrying faint sounds from the ravine. The distant hum of unseen insects formed a soft, continuous backdrop to the stillness. Occasionally, the dry leaves of a distant tree would rustle with a delicate whisper, a natural melody that contributed to the profound tranquility of the moment. There was a sense of deep relaxation, an unhurried unfolding of the midday hours. The air, though dry, felt clean and refreshing within the sandstone refuge, offering a welcome breath during the warmest part of the day. The tiger's golden eyes observed the ravine with calm curiosity. Nothing stirred with urgency. Everything moved with the slow, deliberate rhythm of summer. Tiny, shimmering heat waves still danced above the most exposed surfaces of the ravine, but within the shelter, only a gentle coolness prevailed. It was a perfect balance, a protective bubble of calm in the midst of the vast, sun-drenched wilderness. The tiger rested, its breathing slow and even, almost imperceptible. Each breath seemed to deepen its connection to the silent nature surrounding it. Time itself seemed to lengthen under the sandstone roof. The minutes stretched into a peaceful continuum, marked only by the shifting angle of the sun and the subtle changes in the shadows cast by the overhang. The tiger remained still, absorbing the profound comfort of its temporary home. This quiet moment was a core part of its daily routine, a necessary period of rest after wandering, a gentle lull before the journey continued. The silence was not empty, but filled with the essence of the peaceful wilderness, a silent symphony of life continuing its steady course. The smooth surface of the sandstone felt cool against the tiger's fur, offering a soothing sensation that spread through its resting body. The gentle breezes circulated around it, carrying the scent of dry grasses from the plateau, and the faint mineral scent of the ancient rock itself. There was a reassuring constancy to these sensory details, a predictable rhythm that deepened the sense of security. The world beyond the overhang continued its slow summer dance, but here, within the natural shelter, everything was perfectly calm. The tiger felt a deep sense of safety and repose. It was a perfect midpoint, a quiet anchor in the day's journey. The tiger's observations of the ravine were unhurried, its mind as peaceful as the still air within its sandstone refuge. The small lizards, basking in the sun's warmth outside, seemed to embody the slow, steady rhythm of the summer midday. Their quiet existence contributed to the overall feeling of comfort and stability that permeated the ravine. The tiger's long tail, usually a subtle indicator of its awareness, lay perfectly still against the cool stone, a silent testament to its profound state of rest. The sun, now directly overhead, cast its strongest light upon the world outside, yet the shelter remained a pocket of gentle, abiding coolness. This quiet rest continued, offering a serene interlude, preparing the tiger for the next phase of its peaceful journey through the enduring warmth of the Indian summer. Chapter 13. The lingering stillness of the sandstone shelter slowly receded as the afternoon progressed. The tiger, having found comfort in its cool embrace, now stirred with a gentle energy, preparing to continue its unhurried journey. Its powerful limbs stretched with quiet grace, a soft, deliberate unfolding of muscle and bone. Golden eyes opened wide, observing the shift in light just beyond the sheltering rock. The sun, though still high, had begun its slow descent, painting the distant ravine with a slightly richer hue. Leaving the natural alcove behind, the tiger padded onto a winding path. This trail was unlike the sun-baked stretches encountered earlier. It was a shaded route, thoughtfully bordered by an array of mature tamarind trees. Their venerable branches stretched wide overhead, weaving a dense canopy that artfully filtered the intense afternoon sun. Through this leafy ceiling, sunlight descended in soft, dappled patterns, creating a moving tapestry of light and shadow upon the earthy floor. It was a comforting passage, a cool respite from the growing warmth of the day. With each quiet step, the tiger's paws met a gentle texture of fallen tamarind leaves and dry earth. These leaves, small and numerous, formed a subtle carpet, rustling softly under its weight. The sound was a whisper, a peaceful accompaniment to its steady progress. The air here felt different, carrying a unique blend of dry, sun-warmed earth mingling with the subtle, slightly tangy scent of the tamarind fruit hidden high among the branches. It was a fragrance that spoke of the deep summer, ripe and settled. Along the quiet path, birds sang from their hidden branches within the tamarind grove. Their calls were not insistent or sharp, but rather a series of soft, melodious notes, almost blending into the overall murmur of the afternoon. A few tiny, sun-drenched insects hummed faintly in the distant patches of brighter light, their presence a gentle reminder of the living jungle. The tiger's soft whiskers trembled slightly as it moved, catching the imperceptible movements of the air, discerning the smallest shift in the peaceful environment. Its striped fur glimmered subtly in the filtered light, each golden stripe catching a momentary gleam before dissolving back into shadow. The tiger walked with no haste, its tail gently swaying behind it, a natural balance to its measured gait. This was a path of quiet contemplation, a space where the rhythm of movement merged with the silent beauty of the shaded trees. The journey felt secure and stable, a predictable progression through a familiar landscape. The dense foliage of the tamarind trees effectively softened the midday intensity, allowing a more relaxed pace. Here the heat felt less oppressive, transformed into a gentle warmth that permeated the quiet air. The tiger's golden eyes continued their tranquil observation, scanning the dappled ground ahead and the shadowed undergrowth to either side. It was following forest trails known only to the creatures of this wild space, a secret passage through the heart of the afternoon. The path meandered with a calming unpredictability, sometimes curving around the gnarled trunk of an ancient tamarind, at other times opening slightly to reveal a brief glimpse of the brighter world beyond the shade, yet it always returned to the comforting embrace of the canopy. The sense of stability was profound, a feeling of being protected and contained within the natural corridors formed by the trees. Every rustle in the leaves was a soft, understandable sound, every shadow a familiar shape. As the afternoon hours slowly unfolded, the light continued its imperceptible shift. The filtered sunlight began to acquire a slightly softer, more diffuse quality, hinting at the gradual transition towards evening. The blend of dry earth and green vegetation in the air seemed to deepen, a rich perfume of the summer landscape. The tiger continued its comfortable movement, a picture of quiet strength and enduring calm, progressing gently along the tamarind shade, steadily moving forward through the day. Chapter 14. The long, tranquil stretch beneath the tamarind trees finally yielded to a broader expanse where the late afternoon sun cast its increasingly golden light across an open landscape. The gentle path the tiger had been following slowly widened, guiding its silent steps towards a new, vast body of water. Here, the world felt more open, stretching out under an immense sky that was beginning to gather scattered summer clouds. These clouds, like soft, ethereal islands, drifted with unhurried grace, slowly transforming the brilliant blue into a canvas of pale whites and developing grays. A wide, still reservoir lay before it, its surface a mirror to the grand changes unfolding above. Reflections of the developing cloud formations began to spread across the calm water, creating shifting patterns that moved with subtle, almost imperceptible grace. The light, which had been bright and direct only moments before, now filtered through these higher clouds, softening its intensity, giving the entire scene a dreamy, muted quality. The air, which had held the deep warmth of the day, now carried a distinct coolness as gentle breezes began to strengthen, stirring the surface of the water in a quiet, rhythmic dance. The tiger approached the water's edge with its characteristic steady pace, each powerful limb moving with deliberate calm. Its striped fur glimmered softly as it passed from the last patches of shade onto the grassy embankments that sloped down to the reservoir. The grasses here were thick and green, cushioning its steps. It paused near the water, its golden eyes observing the way the light played upon the gently rippling surface, watching the floating shapes of clouds appear and dissolve with quiet certainty. A faint, cool breath rose from the reservoir, a welcome contrast to the lingering heat of the day. The breezes, though strengthening, remained entirely gentle, rustling the tall reeds and water plants that grew along portions of the embankment. The sound was a soft, continuous whisper, a peaceful chorus of the afternoon. The tiger lowered its head, inhaling the fresh, clean scent of the open water, a different aroma from the dry earth and sweet blossoms it had encountered earlier in its wandering journey. With a slow, deliberate movement, the tiger stepped closer to the reservoir's edge. Its cool paws splashed softly into the shallow water, creating small, expanding circles that spread outward before fading into the vast, calm expanse. It drank long and deep, feeling the refreshing coolness of the water. The act was unhurried, a moment of profound stillness in the slow progression of its day. After satisfying its thirst, it lifted its head, droplets clinging to its soft whiskers, and gazed across the wide, shimmering surface. Though this body of water was not entirely wild, having been shaped by human effort in a time long past, it had now settled into the peaceful wilderness around it. The reservoir was a haven for quiet life, where unseen fish might swim below and distant birds might find a resting place on its farther shores. The influence of human presence was subtle, almost entirely absorbed by the overwhelming calm of nature. It felt like another natural lake, offering a quiet sanctuary under the evolving sky. The tiger found a comfortable spot on a patch of slightly raised grass along the embankment. It settled down, stretching its powerful limbs before resting, its tail gently swaying in the soft breeze. From this vantage point, it could observe the entire sweep of the sky and the way the light softened and changed with each passing moment. The sun, though still high, was beginning its slow descent, its golden glow filtering through the increasing canopy of clouds, painting the landscape in tones of muted amber and gentle silver. This quiet pause allowed the tiger to rest after its long journey, enveloped by the expanding comfort of the cool air. The sounds were gentle, the distant hum of unseen insects, the soft lapping of the water against the bank, the continual whisper of the wind through the grasses. There was a profound sense of stability here, a predictable rhythm of late afternoon slowly turning towards evening. It was a moment of peaceful mind, far from any urgency, simply observing the world as it slowly turned. The scattered summer clouds continued their unhurried dance above, each one a testament to the slow, steady transitions of the day. Their shadows drifted like silent ships across the reservoir's surface, momentarily darkening patches of water before moving on, allowing the sunlight to return. This gentle play of light and shadow created a visual rhythm, adding to the serene atmosphere. The tiger remained still, its presence a quiet focal point against the wide, peaceful backdrop of the reservoir. The cooler air offered a profound sense of comfort, inviting a deep relaxation as the afternoon hours began their final, languid stretch. The tiger's breathing was slow and even, perfectly in tune with the quiet rhythm of the natural world surrounding it. There was nothing to disturb this profound stillness, only the continuous flow of time, marked by the gradual deepening of colors in the sky and the subtle strengthening of the breeze. The reservoir, with its wide open embrace, offered a calming resolution to the afternoon's wanderings. Its presence felt like a gentle invitation for all creatures to simply be, to find rest in its quiet beauty, before the sun began its true descent towards the horizon, leading the world towards the softer, more fragrant hours of evening. Chapter 15. The tiger lifted its powerful limbs from the edge of the reservoir, leaving the cooling expanse of water behind with a quiet, deliberate motion. Its journey continued onward, away from the subtle shimmer of the wide, still surface and the gentle breezes that had played there. The soft, sun-warmed earth beneath its paws held the lingering memory of the day's full heat as the majestic creature began a slow ascent up a gradual incline. This rising path, winding gently through scattered low-lying bushes, led toward a hillside that gracefully undulated against the vast blue canvas of the late afternoon sky. Each step was measured and unhurried, a familiar rhythmic padding across the varied, dry terrain, carrying the tiger steadily upward. As the tiger moved higher along the rising slope, a new and distinct fragrance began to softly drift through the air, carried on the faintest whisper of a breeze. It was a sweet, delicate aroma, light and profoundly comforting, hinting at countless unseen blooms hidden among the verdant foliage. This gentle scent grew steadily more distinct with every passing moment, becoming a quiet yet undeniable invitation that drew the animal further and deeper into the unfolding landscape. The hillside slowly revealed its true character, unfurling before the tiger's golden eyes to display an abundance of wild jasmine shrubs. Their slender green leaves offered a soft, textured verdancy to the entire slope, while countless small, pale flowers like tiny, luminous stars dotted the branches in profusion. The afternoon sun, though still undeniably bright and warm, now held a distinctly softer, more mellow quality. Its intense, piercing midday strength had begun its slow, graceful retreat, diffusing into a more expansive golden light that draped itself like a fine, shimmering cloth over the entire hillside. This pervasive warmth seeped deeply into the jasmine plants, gently coaxing forth their delicate perfumes into the quiet, still air. The resulting scent was pervasive yet never overwhelming, a constant, comforting presence that mingled seamlessly with the dry, earthy notes of the summer terrain. It settled like a calm, invisible blanket over the gentle undulations of the slope, creating an atmosphere of deep relaxation and safety. The tiger, with its intelligent, golden eyes observing every detail of the shifting landscape, continued its quiet and unhurried ascent. Its striped fur, a pattern of deep orange and black, glimmered subtly and beautifully in the softened, rich light, blending effortlessly with the lengthening, dancing shadows cast by the dense thickets of aromatic shrubs. It moved with silent dignity among the fragrant plants, its powerful limbs carrying its magnificent form with steady, unwavering grace. The subtle rustle of leaves, a soft, almost imperceptible whisper, accompanied its passage, a delicate symphony of movement that did not in any way disturb the profound stillness that otherwise reigned over the peaceful afternoon. Each paw placement was unhurried, a natural flowing progression through the intensely scented air, contributing to the feeling of endless tranquil motion. Small, unhurried breezes, barely a breath of air, circulated gently across the sun-warmed hillside. They delicately stirred the jasmine branches, causing them to sway with a soft, almost imperceptible rhythm, and in doing so, released fresh, invigorating waves of their sweet essence. The very air itself felt thoroughly infused with this natural perfume, a comforting, all-encompassing sensation that enveloped the tiger entirely as it continued its steady, deliberate wanderings. The sun's benevolent warmth was absorbed deeply by the tiger's dense fur, a pleasant and enduring sensation that only deepened the overarching feeling of peacefulness and calm. There was no hint of urgency in its movements, only the quiet, continuous momentum of the journey, guided softly by the slow, graceful turning of the day towards its quiet conclusion. Tiny insects, almost invisible against the backdrop of the vibrant green foliage, hummed lazily and contentedly among the delicate jasmine blossoms. Their gentle, persistent buzzing created a low, continuous melody, a subtle, almost hypnotic counterpoint to the deep quietness that otherwise permeated the space. These small, busy creatures drifted effortlessly from flower to flower, engaged in their own peaceful routines of gathering and flitting, adding another intricate layer to the serene and deeply comforting atmosphere of the hillside. The tiger, with its keen senses, registered their quiet presence, recognizing them as an integral part of the vibrant, yet profoundly calm world that surrounded it. The light continued its gradual, mesmerizing transformation. The bright, direct rays of the earlier afternoon softened further, stretching and elongating the shadows across the parched ground to new, impressive lengths. The very texture of the sunlight seemed to undergo a profound change, becoming richer, warmer, washing the entire landscape in increasingly deeper hues of honey and pale, burnished gold. This slow, elegant shift in illumination painted the jasmine-covered hillside in ever-changing, soft patterns of light and shade, delicately highlighting the intricate structure of the tiny blossoms and the sturdy, resilient green of the leaves. The tiger paused near a cluster of particularly fragrant shrubs, its soft whiskers trembling slightly and almost imperceptibly as it registered the multitude of sweet and earthy scents carried on the air, allowing itself a moment of stillness and deep sensory immersion. It found a comfortable spot to rest for a brief, calming period, settling beneath bamboo-like grasses that grew taller and thicker near the very crest of the hill. The tiger's powerful body, warm from the persistent sun and its steady, unhurried movement, found immediate comfort and solace in the soft, dry earth beneath it. Its breathing became even slower and more profoundly tranquil, a quiet, rhythmic pulse that resonated in perfect harmony with the gentle, natural rhythm of the late afternoon. From this slightly elevated vantage point, it could gaze across wetlands sprawling in the distance, a peaceful panorama slowly touched and transformed by the deepening, rich gold of the descending sun. The quiet forest, a vast and peaceful wilderness, stretched out before it, now bathed entirely in the evolving mellow light. This deep relaxation was a central part of its daily routine. The sense of time passing was not abrupt or jarring, but a seamless, natural unfolding, like the slow opening of a bloom. The sun, a benevolent and steady presence throughout the long hours of the day, now began its slow, inevitable descent toward the western horizon. Its light, no longer piercing or intense, spread wide and diffused, coating the entire hillside in a warm, embracing, and profoundly comforting glow. This gentle, pervasive change in illumination brought with it a subtle yet palpable shift in temperature, a gradual easing of the day's peak heat into a milder, more temperate warmth that promised the softness of evening. The tiger stretched its powerful limbs once more, a fluid movement of unhurried grace, before rising gently to its full, majestic height. Its paws, having absorbed a welcome coolness from its brief rest, now met the dry earth with renewed, quiet purpose. It continued following the well-worn forest trails that crisscrossed the upper slopes of the hillside, each path leading it gently forward, deeper into the unfolding narrative of the land. The pervasive fragrance of dry jasmine remained a faithful and comforting companion, a subtle, sweet current in the air, reminding the tiger of the unique and tranquil beauty of this particular sun-drenched place. The entire world felt stable and profoundly safe, a predictable, peaceful progression of light and shadow, scent and warmth, ensuring a deep sense of security. As the tiger continued its wandering jungle paths, moving slowly and deliberately, the natural colors of the landscape began to deepen and intensify. Greens became richer, more profound. Golds grew more vibrant, almost glowing, and the vast sky above took on a faintly rosy, tender tint at its very edges, hinting at the approaching sunset. The soft sound of rustles in the undergrowth, made by unseen small creatures beginning their preparations for the quiet evening, reached the tiger's sensitive ears. These were quiet, familiar sounds, an integral part of the peaceful symphony of the turning day, reassuring in their predictability. The tiger moved calmly through the undergrowth, its powerful, striped form a calm and integrating force within the natural, stable world. The warmth of the sun, now lower in the sky, held a nostalgic and enduring quality, a lingering, soft embrace before the cool, refreshing air of the evening would finally arrive. It was a gentle warmth, perfect for a slow, unhurried, and deeply contemplative journey. The jasmine plants, thoroughly steeped in this softening light, seemed to release their precious perfume with a quiet, boundless generosity, a final, beautiful offering to the fading day. The tiger's magnificent tail gently swayed with each steady, powerful step, a silent, rhythmic expression of its deep comfort and profound connection within its tranquil surroundings. The still air held the warmth and the perfume close, a silent promise of ongoing peace. The gentle journey up the hillside brought with it a feeling of soft, effortless ascent, a gradual lifting above the earlier, shimmering reservoir. The air here, at this slightly higher elevation, felt expansive and open, yet still held the intimate, pervasive embrace of the jasmine scent. The tiger paused near a small, quiet trickle of water, a hidden spring that wound its way down a small crevice, offering a moment of refreshing coolness in the otherwise warm air. It watched the delicate, floating leaves caught in the gentle current, a small, intricate detail within the vast, calm panorama, embodying the slow progression of natural life. The long shadows of the trees at the edge of the hillside began to stretch out further and further, like slender, dark fingers reaching across the ground, a clear visual confirmation of the sun's steadily lowering position. These growing shadows brought with them small, inviting pockets of cool air, soft invitations to rest and find temporary shelter from the lingering warmth. The tiger, always attuned to these subtle, natural cues, found a particularly sheltered spot beneath a large, sprawling jasmine bush, where the dense leaves formed a delicate, natural canopy, filtering the last direct light into soft patterns. Here, it settled itself with quiet ease, watching the very last of the brighter, direct sunlight fade from the highest tips of the fragrant plants. The profound, quiet stillness of the evening slowly began to gather around it, deepening the sense of rest. The lazy hum of insects, a constant companion throughout the afternoon, gradually lessened, replaced by the soft, tentative chirping of the very first evening birds. The air grew perceptibly cooler, a welcome and gentle transition after the day's long journey through varying temperatures and landscapes. The pervasive fragrance of the dry jasmine, still present and comforting, now seemed to mingle subtly with the fresh, clean scent of approaching twilight. This peaceful moment was a gentle resolution, a comforting pause as the day yielded gracefully to the quiet promise of the coming night. The tiger's rest was deep and untroubled, a perfect ending to this fragrant passage, imbued with comfort. The feeling of safety and stability was complete and reassuring as the world slowly softened and settled around it. The gentle journey of the tiger continued its serene, predictable flow, a testament to the quiet rhythms of nature. The comforting sensations of warmth, scent, and slow, quiet motion filled the space, cradling the powerful creature. The turning of the day was a slow, beautiful, and deeply peaceful process, observed and experienced with profound calm and gentle acceptance. Chapter 16. The air, still holding the day's warmth, softened further as the tiger descended from the jasmine-scented hillside. Each slow, deliberate step carried it away from the lingering fragrance of sun-warmed blossoms and toward a new horizon. The land opened into expansive fields, quiet and hushed, stretching wide beneath a sky painted with the softest hues of approaching evening. This was a place where the sun, now considerably lower, cast an enchanting amber glow across everything it touched. Long shadows began their slow stretch across the harvested ground, elongating from every small rise and every distant clump of dry, standing stalks. The golden light, rich and deep, saturated the landscape, turning the dry stubble of the fields into a shimmering carpet of muted gold and sepia tones. A sense of gentle completion settled over the land, a peaceful culmination of the day's journey. The intensity of the afternoon sun had finally receded, replaced by this tranquil, descending brilliance that invited a deeper sense of comfort. The tiger moved with its characteristic quiet grace, its powerful limbs carrying it steadily across the open expanse. The flattened grasses and remnants of a past harvest rustled ever so softly beneath its cool paws, a dry, whispery sound that merged seamlessly with the gathering stillness. There was no urgency in its stride, only a continuous, unhurried progression as it navigated the paths worn by time and weather. Its striped fur glimmered faintly in the golden wash of light, each stripe catching the fading brilliance in a subtle dance of shadow and illumination. Above, evening birds began their unhurried journey homeward, their wings catching the last bright rays. Their calls, soft and melodious, drifted on the gentle breeze, adding a peaceful counterpoint to the quiet landscape. The air, which had been thick with the heat of the summer day, now began to ease, carrying with it the dry, earthy scent of the harvested fields, a fragrance of deep roots and lingering warmth. This familiar aroma enveloped the tiger, a comforting presence that guided its slow traverse. Golden eyes observing the vast, open space, the tiger took in the panoramic shift of light. The distant tree line, once sharp and clear beneath the high sun, now appeared as a hazy, softened silhouette against the deepening amber. Every detail seemed to be held within a soft, luminous veil, making the world feel tranquil and deeply serene. The very dust on the ground, stirred by a stray breath of wind, seemed to glow softly in the diffused light, like tiny particles of liquid gold suspended in the quiet air. The animal paused for a moment, its large head slightly raised, listening to the subtle symphony of the evening. The faint hum of insects, a more distant cousin to the lazy buzz heard earlier on the jasmine hillside, created a steady, reassuring backdrop. A profound stillness permeated the atmosphere, a quiet invitation to rest and observe the beauty of the world slowly transitioning. The tiger's tail gently swayed, a rhythmic motion that spoke of deep calm and relaxed awareness. As it continued wandering jungle paths, though these were now fields, the tiger maintained its focus, following the intuitive route that lay before it. The sensation of the cooler evening air against its whiskers was a delicate reminder of the passage of time, of the day gracefully yielding to the night. There was an inherent safety in this predictable rhythm, a stability that resonated with the deep, natural order of things. The journey was not about reaching a destination quickly, but about experiencing each moment of its steady unfolding. The sun dipped lower still, transforming the amber into richer, more burnished hues. The field with its gentle contours seemed to absorb this warmth, holding it close before surrendering it to the advancing cool. The overall impression was one of a world slowing down, of every living thing preparing for the peaceful rest that night would bring. The tiger's presence, unhurried and majestic, became a silent part of this grand daily transition. Its steady movement through the soft, glowing landscape was a living embodiment of the evening's serene pace. Each step was light, almost soundless, emphasizing the quiet reverence for the closing day. The feeling of comfort was pervasive, a deep calm settling over the land and its inhabitant. The golden light lingered, reluctant to fully depart, drawing out the beauty of these moments before darkness would eventually draw its soft velvet curtain. This gentle procession across the fields was a profound act of simply being, of moving through the world with unburdened awareness. The tiger carried this peaceful energy with it, a quiet strength that was harmonious with the settling environment. Its passage through the amber fields became a part of the evening story, a silent thread woven into the fabric of the fading light. The day's energy gradually settled, dissipating into the soft, cooling air, making way for the deeper quietude that would soon follow. This tranquil crossing was a gentle prelude to the next phase of its enduring journey, a slow drift towards the encompassing embrace of the coming twilight. Chapter 17. The gentle warmth of the amber fields slowly receded behind the tiger as the sun dipped lower, painting the horizon with hues of soft, fading gold. Each deliberate paw step carried the great creature away from the expansive openness and toward a more sheltered realm, a peaceful boundary where the last cultivated stretches met the wild, quiet rise of the surrounding woodlands. The air, which had held the dry sweetness of harvested grains, now began to mingle with the richer, earthier scents of forest soil and the deep green of leaves that had held the day's warmth within their fibers. The tiger moved with an inherent grace, its powerful limbs carrying it slowly along a faint, winding track that hugged this line of convergence. Here, the tall, slender stalks of the field gave way to thicker, more varied undergrowth, the first whispered promises of the forest. Scattered bushes, still vibrant in the lingering light, dotted the terrain, their shadows stretching long and softened across the uneven ground. The striped fur glimmering faintly, a deep, silent pattern woven into the deepening twilight. The tiger's presence was a natural part of this peaceful wilderness. As the sun settled further, its final, gentle rays brushed across the highest branches of the sentinel trees, painting their topmost leaves in brief, fiery orange before giving way to deeper, calmer shades. The sky, a vast canvas above, began its slow and wondrous transformation. Those warm colors of the day, the fiery oranges and yellows, softened into a quiet blush of rose, then deepened into delicate lavenders and muted violets along the eastern edge, anticipating the return of night. The tiger wandering jungle paths that traced this distinct frontier seemed to absorb the tranquil shift, its golden eyes observing the gradual dimming of the world. From within the shadows of the emerging forest, new sounds began to awaken, replacing the daytime buzz of the fields. A chorus of insects started its evening overture, a subtle rhythmic hum that layered itself beneath the faint, faraway calls of unseen birds exchanging their last goodnights. These songs of the forest edge were not loud or startling, but rather a soft, continuous melody, a calm and comforting backdrop to the stillness that settled over the land. Each rustle of dry leaf, each faint chirp from a hidden creature, added to the low stimulation tapestry of the growing darkness. The tiger, listening to rustles from the dense foliage, paused occasionally, its head turning almost imperceptibly, taking in the full, rich symphony of this transitional hour. The boundary itself was a fascinating place, a meeting point where the wild, untamed growth of the sleepy woodland gradually consumed the ordered lines of the fields. Low-lying ferns began to appear, unfurling their delicate fronds close to the ground, introducing a texture distinct from the dry stalks of the open land. Patches of moss, cool and damp, clung to the bases of the earliest trees, their vibrant green a stark contrast against the parched earth. The air here felt subtly different, a little cooler, carrying the faint, sweet scent of damp soil and the deep, resinous aroma of bark. The tiger, moving through undergrowth, felt the changing resistance against its cool paws splashing through pockets of dew-laden grass near small, silent depressions in the earth. The gentle night ambience began to truly gather as the last slivers of orange light dissolved completely from the sky. A profound sense of comfort settled into the landscape, a natural easing of the day's bright energies. The tiger continued its unhurried pace, following forest trails that meandered precisely along this fascinating seam, a living line where two worlds met and merged in a peaceful twilight embrace, its long, soft whiskers trembling slightly, catching the faintest shift in the air currents, sensing the approach of deep relaxation that night always brought. The feeling of safety was palpable in this familiar territory, a zone well known and understood. With the stars not yet fully visible but the first pale points beginning to dot the darkening sky, the tiger chose a spot beneath a broadleaf tree, its branches spreading wide like welcoming arms. Here, it could look out across the now indistinct fields, a soft expanse of shadows, and back into the deepening gloom of the forest. The air continued to cool, a gentle breeze stirring the leaves above, creating a quiet whisper that seemed to speak of coming rest. The tiger, settling beneath bamboo nearby, felt the solid earth beneath its weight, a grounding sensation after its wandering jungle paths throughout the day. The last of the birds fell silent, their calls fading into the soft background hum of crickets and unseen night insects. The forest edge truly became a place of stillness, a tranquil threshold where the light completely surrendered to the dark. The tiger, resting after wandering for many hours, felt the slow rhythm of the evening take hold. Its calm breathing matched the slow breathing of the fading day, a quiet acceptance of the natural cycle. All around, the landscape prepared itself for deep sleep, wrapping itself in the growing comfort of the Indian summer night. This peaceful transition into the deeper woodlands felt like a natural return, a soft journey back into the calm night sky and its familiar rhythms. The subtle shift in temperature and the rising nocturnal symphony suggested the world was preparing for its most silent hours, and the tiger was ready to become part of its deep, peaceful mind of night. The gentle warmth of the amber fields slowly receded behind the tiger as the sun dipped lower, painting the horizon with hues of soft, fading gold. Each deliberate paw step carried the great creature away from the expansive openness and toward a more sheltered realm, a peaceful boundary where the last cultivated stretches met the wild, quiet rise of the surrounding woodlands. The air, which had held the dry sweetness of harvested grains, now began to mingle with the richer, earthier scents of forest soil and the deep green of leaves that had held the day's warmth within their fibers. The tiger moved with an inherent grace, its powerful limbs carrying it slowly along a faint, winding track that hugged this line of convergence. Here, the tall, slender stalks of the field gave way to thicker, more varied undergrowth, the first whispered promises of the forest. Scattered bushes, still vibrant in the lingering light, dotted the terrain, their shadows stretching long and softened across the uneven ground, the striped fur glimmering faintly, a deep, silent pattern woven into the deepening twilight. The tiger's presence was a natural part of this peaceful wilderness. As the sun settled further, its final, gentle rays brushed across the highest branches of the sentinel trees, painting their topmost leaves in brief, fiery orange, before giving way to deeper, calmer shades. The sky, a vast canvas above, began its slow and wondrous transformation. Those warm colors of the day, the fiery oranges and yellows, softened into a quiet blush of rose, then deepened into delicate lavenders and muted violets along the eastern edge, anticipating the return of night. The tiger wandering jungle paths that traced this distinct frontier seemed to absorb the tranquil shift, its golden eyes observing the gradual dimming of the world. From within the shadows of the emerging forest, new sounds began to awaken, replacing the daytime buzz of the fields. A chorus of insects started its evening overture, a subtle rhythmic hum that layered itself beneath the faint, faraway calls of unseen birds exchanging their last good nights. These songs of the forest edge were not loud or startling, but rather a soft, continuous melody, a calm and comforting backdrop to the stillness that settled over the land. Each rustle of dry leaf, each faint chirp from a hidden creature, added to the low stimulation tapestry of the growing darkness. The tiger, listening to rustles from the dense foliage, paused occasionally, its head turning almost imperceptibly, taking in the full, rich symphony of this transitional hour. The boundary itself was a fascinating place, a meeting point where the wild, untamed growth of the sleepy woodland gradually consumed the ordered lines of the fields. Low-lying ferns began to appear, unfurling their delicate fronds close to the ground, introducing a texture distinct from the dry stalks of the open land. Patches of moss, cool and damp, clung to the bases of the earliest trees, their vibrant green a stark contrast against the parched earth. The air here felt subtly different, a little cooler, carrying the faint, sweet scent of damp soil and the deep, resinous aroma of bark. The tiger moving through undergrowth felt the changing resistance against its cool paws splashing through pockets of dew-laden grass near small, silent depressions in the earth. The gentle night ambiance began to truly gather as the last slivers of orange light dissolved completely from the sky. A profound sense of comfort settled into the landscape, a natural easing of the day's bright energies. The tiger continued its unhurried pace, following forest trails that meandered precisely along this fascinating seam, a living line where two worlds met and merged in a peaceful twilight embrace, its long, soft whiskers trembling slightly, catching the faintest shift in the air currents, sensing the approach of deep relaxation that night always brought. The feeling of safety was palpable in this familiar territory, a zone well known and understood. With the stars not yet fully visible, but the first pale points beginning to dot the darkening sky, the tiger chose a spot beneath a broad-leafed tree, its branches spreading wide like welcoming arms. Here, it could look out across the now indistinct fields, a soft expanse of shadows, and back into the deepening gloom of the forest. The air continued to cool, a gentle breeze stirring the leaves above, creating a quiet whisper that seemed to speak of coming rest. The tiger, settling beneath bamboo nearby, felt the solid earth beneath its weight, a grounding sensation after its wandering jungle paths throughout the day. The last of the birds fell silent, their calls fading into the soft background hum of crickets and unseen night insects. The forest edge truly became a place of stillness, a tranquil threshold where the light completely surrendered to the dark. The tiger, resting after wandering for many hours, felt the slow rhythm of the evening take hold. Its calm breathing matched the slow breathing of the fading day, a quiet acceptance of the natural cycle. All around, the landscape prepared itself for deep sleep, wrapping itself in the growing comfort of the Indian summer night. This peaceful transition into the deeper woodlands felt like a natural return, a soft journey back into the calm night sky and its familiar rhythms. The subtle shift in temperature and the rising nocturnal symphony suggested the world was preparing for its most silent hours, and the tiger was ready to become part of its deep, peaceful mind of night. Chapter 18. The tiger, having moved with an unhurried grace along the soft boundary where the wide harvested fields met the ancient silent woodland, now turned its body toward the deeper, more enclosed world of the forest. The last tender rays of the setting sun, which had moments before painted the open expanse in shades of gentle amber and comforting rose, found their passage blocked by the impressive upward reach of the tall teak trees. A distinct, almost invisible line seemed to exist at this transition, a soft border where the receding light of the day gave way to the quiet, inviting mystery of the encroaching evening. Imposing, straight trunks of teak rose from the forest floor like the columns of some ancient, vast sanctuary, their rough, textured bark still holding the lingering warmth of the day, even as the air around them began its slow, steady descent into coolness. The ground beneath, a comforting carpet of old, dry leaves and rich, dark earth, welcomed each padding step of the tiger, absorbing any potential sound, thus ensuring a truly silent and undisturbed passage into the heart of the woods. This deliberate movement was unhurried, a natural and peaceful progression as the world outside the forest prepared itself for its nightly slumber. The atmosphere within the teak grove immediately presented a different kind of calm, a comforting enclosure away from the vastness of the twilight sky, offering a profound sense of safety and stability as the light waned further, promising deep relaxation. High above, the broad, expansive teak leaves, still a vibrant, living green, began their gradual absorption of the diminishing light, transforming the upper canopy into a complex, shifting mosaic of deeper, more contemplative tones. Patches of the sky, glimpsed occasionally between the high, interlacing branches, were now painted in exquisite soft violets and serene blues, faithfully reflecting the lingering twilight that held the world in its gentle embrace. These subtle merging colors filtered down through the dense foliage, bathing the very air in a tranquil, almost ethereal glow that seemed to soften all edges and blur all distinctions. The light was not bright or sharp, but rather a pervasive, calming luminescence that suggested a gentle, unhurried transition, an unspoken invitation to deep relaxation and a quiet surrender to the quiet forest night. It delicately highlighted the faint, intricate veins in the textured leaves and the smooth, elegant curves of slender saplings patiently reaching for the distant sky. The entire forest, as if a single living entity, began to breathe differently, exhaling the accumulated heat of the long day in long, slow, imperceptible currents of cooler, fresher air, which carried with it the unique, grounding, earthy scent of the teak wood itself, mingling harmoniously with the sweeter, more delicate notes of unseen night-blooming blossoms, contributing to a truly peaceful mind. A soft, almost imperceptible whispering began among the highest, outermost leaves, a barely audible rustle as a gentle, passing breeze stirred the upper canopy. It was a rhythmic, peaceful sound, a natural lullaby of the sleepy woodland as it prepared for the full, comforting embrace of the approaching night. Beneath this soft, consistent overhead song, the deeper, more profound quiet of the forest floor settled in, deepening the atmosphere of still forest. Here, the only distinct sounds were the occasional gentle scuttling of a foraging beetle or the almost imperceptible movement of a tiny, unseen creature carefully settling into its chosen place of nightly rest. The tiger's golden eyes, now even more perfectly attuned to the deepening dimness, observed the subtle, shifting patterns of shadow and the ever-present, deepening calm that permeated the very air. Its soft whiskers trembled slightly, gathering information from the currents in the air, delicately reading the complex, intertwined scents that drifted so quietly through the silent nature of the grove. The entire environment contributed to a peaceful mind, encouraging a slow, steady breathing rhythm that perfectly matched the unhurried, quiet unfolding of the evening, creating a serene ambiance. The persistent heat of the long summer day, which had clung so stubbornly to the land for hours, now began its slow, inevitable, and steady release. The air, growing cooler with each passing moment, descended in gentle, wave-like currents, washing over the tiger's sleek, striped fur glimmering faintly in the dying light. This emerging coolness was not sharp or chilling, but rather a profoundly comforting relief, a soothing sensation of stability that settled softly upon the entire teak forest. The ground beneath the tiger's cool paws slowly, almost reluctantly, lost its stored warmth, becoming a softer, more yielding surface as the subtle moisture from the cooling air began to condense upon it, creating a delicate, almost invisible sheen. Every single fiber of the forest seemed to relax completely, shedding the day's intensity with a profound sigh, inviting a deep, all-encompassing stillness to settle quietly in its place. This period of natural release was an intrinsic part of the forest's daily cycle, a predictable and utterly peaceful change that the tiger had experienced countless times throughout its life, a constant source of calm comfort. The tiger continued its quiet journey, following barely discernible forest trails that were now mere suggestions of darker pathways through the gathering gloom. It moved through the undergrowth with an inherent fluid grace, its powerful limbs carrying it effortlessly and silently between the tall, straight trunks. The progressively darkening environment held no hint of alarm, only a sense of familiar enclosure and protective embrace. Each padding step was deliberate, unhurried, a rhythmic, steady movement that left no lasting trace on the soft, yielding earth. The tiger was simply following forest trails, a natural part of its routine. The immediate destination remained unseen, known only to the tiger itself, yet the progression felt profoundly purposeful and utterly serene, a quiet, wandering jungle path. The deepening shadows became its silent allies, offering a comforting cloak as it moved quietly through the quiet forest, allowing its form to merge almost seamlessly with the evolving night. This was a movement driven by an inner peace, a calm purpose that required no haste, no urgency, just the steady rhythm of existence in the peaceful wilderness, its tail gently swaying in time with its slow, rhythmic steps, a soft accompaniment to the pervasive quiet. As the violet twilight slowly, imperceptibly gave way to the first elusive hints of deep indigo, a pervasive, profound stillness settled throughout the entire teak forest. The occasional stray whisper of leaves softened even further, becoming almost an indistinguishable part of the vast, encompassing quiet. The air itself grew noticeably stiller, carrying fewer of the distant, fading sounds that had marked the forest edge just moments before. Here, deep in the protected heart of the teak wood, the arrival of night was not sudden or abrupt, but a slow, gradual, and utterly gentle embrace, a comforting descent into peaceful darkness. It was a complete and peaceful arrival, wrapping the entire landscape in a soft blanket of comfort and deep relaxation. The tiger paused for a long, quiet moment, its magnificent body a still form amidst the gathering dark, its golden eyes observing the almost imperceptible subtle shifts in the lingering light before it dissolved completely into the pervasive black. A deep sense of completion filled the evening air, the day's gentle adventures slowly winding down, preparing the entire world for the promise of restful, deep sleep under a calm night sky full of serene beauty. The silent world of the teak forest now truly belonged to the profound quiet of the night, holding its breath in restful anticipation. The last vestiges of violet hues had fully deepened into rich, velvety blues and impenetrable blacks, though a faint, almost imperceptible, lingering glow from the unseen moon above still managed to soften the very highest branches, creating a delicate interplay of light and shadow. The tiger, having moved slowly and steadily deeper into this peaceful wilderness, now sensed a subtle yet distinct change in the terrain under its cool paws. The ground began a gentle, gradual decline, almost imperceptible, and the air carried a different resonance, a subtle echo that spoke of more enclosed, perhaps rockier spaces ahead. The dense, upright trunks of the teak trees, which had stood so uniformly, started to thin slightly, giving way to an emerging sense of open space, yet still remaining wonderfully sheltered. The cool, refreshing night air guided its next steps, a soft, unspoken invitation to explore what lay just beyond the immediate, protective reach of the teak canopy, toward a place where the gathering starlight would soon reclaim its dominance. The steady journey continued with unhurried grace, leading gently and predictably from one serene setting to another, promising continued rest and a profound sense of stability as the night deepened and the silent nature embraced the land. Chapter 19. The twilight shades of the teak forest slowly softened and deepened, finally yielding to the full, quiet dominance of the summer night. The last vestiges of violet light receded from the sky, allowing the stars to emerge with breathtaking clarity, each point of light a distant, steady gleam. The tiger, having moved with unhurried purpose through the tall, whispering trees, now felt the cool, embracing stillness of the complete darkness settling around it. The air was comfortably warm, carrying the gentle, familiar sense of dry earth and late-blooming vegetation, a blend unique to this peaceful time. The rhythmic hum of unseen insects formed a soft, continuous backdrop to the silent nature that unfolded around the magnificent creature. Ahead, a subtle indentation in the landscape revealed itself as the entrance to a secluded ravine. Its presence was hinted at by the way the shadows gathered, creating a darker vein in the already dim terrain. The tiger approached this opening with a measured, deliberate gait, its powerful limbs moving smoothly beneath its striped fur glimmering faintly under the distant starlight. The ravine's mouth was a quiet invitation, a narrow passage between ancient, weather-smoothed stone walls that rose gently from the earth. These walls, silent sentinels of countless seasons, offered a sense of comforting enclosure. As the tiger slowly padded into the deeper reaches of the ravine, the broader sounds of the quiet forest beyond began to recede, replaced by the more intimate nature ambiance of this enclosed space. The air within felt slightly different, a subtle coolness rising from the stone itself, a gentle contrast to the lingering warmth of the open night. Here, the traces of summer vegetation were more concentrated, a rich, earthy perfume that mingled with the dry, mineral scent of rock. This sensory richness deepened the overall feeling of deep relaxation, The starlight, now unobscured by the forest canopy, streamed down into the ravine, touching the pale stone surfaces with a delicate silvery glow. This light, though faint, was enough to illuminate the tiger's path, creating soft patterns of shadow and illumination across the textured floor. The tiger's golden eyes observing these subtle plays of light, taking in every gentle shift in its surroundings. The ground beneath its soft paws was a mixture of fine, compacted earth and rounded pebbles, providing a calm and stable surface for its unhurried pace. Within the ravine, small nocturnal creatures began their quiet activities, their presence registered more by sound than sight. A nearly inaudible scuttling over dry leaves, the softest rustle in a low-growing bush, the delicate, rhythmic chirping of hidden crickets echoing gently against the stone. These sounds were tiny, reassuring affirmations of life within the peaceful wilderness, never breaking the profound stillness that settled around the tiger, its soft whiskers trembling slightly as it filtered the subtle air currents, gathering information from the unseen world. The ravine widened and narrowed with a gentle, meandering flow, each turn revealing a slightly altered perspective of the calm night sky overhead. This constant yet slow progression felt like wandering jungle paths through a natural sanctuary. The overarching sensation was one of absolute safety, a protective embrace offered by the ancient stone and the overarching, peaceful forest night. The tiger continued following forest trails that felt familiar, an instinctual route through the quietude. It paused occasionally, listening to rustles that seemed to be the very breath of the ravine itself, a soft exhalation of the natural world. The tall, dry grasses that grew in patches along the ravine floor brushed softly against the tiger's legs as it moved, creating a whispering sound that blended seamlessly with the gentle night ambience. Its tail gently swaying with each graceful step, a subtle counterbalance to its powerful form. The sense of comfort was pervasive, an intrinsic part of the journey through this sleepy woodland passage. The tiger was walking beneath moonlight, or rather the general celestial glow that streamed down from the calm night sky, guiding its measured steps. The air remained consistently mild, holding the warmth of the day within the sheltered confines of the ravine, allowing for a feeling of consistent well-being. This provided a natural and frequent reassurance for the creature moving through the deepest hours of the summer night. The tiger's slow breathing was even and deep, a reflection of the deep relaxation it experienced, its peaceful mind absorbing the serene surroundings. It was exploring hidden turns in the winding channel, each new segment of the path unveiling itself gradually without haste or surprise. The smooth, ancient stones of the ravine walls felt cool and solid to the touch, their surfaces absorbing the starlight and reflecting it back in soft, muted tones. This created a visual texture that was both subtle and rich, a landscape of quiet observation. The tiger's journey had reached a point of profound stillness, not in cessation of movement, but in the complete lack of any urgency or external demand. It was a rest for the spirit, even as the body continued its slow scene progression. The pervasive nature ambiance of the starlit ravine wrapped itself around the tiger, a soothing presence. It was a place for dreaming in solitude, a space where the world's daily rhythms settled into a profound, calm harmony. The tiger felt the landscape settle fully into its nighttime rhythms, a slow, gentle unfolding of the hours beneath the unchanging gaze of the stars. This deep, restful journey through the quiet corridor of stone offered a profound sense of completion, a peaceful winding down of the day's expansive travels. The mood was deeply restful and contemplative, a perfect prelude to the full cessation of movement that awaited. Chapter 20. The tiger slowly emerged from the cool, shaded depths of the ravine, its powerful form gliding smoothly from the pale stone walls into a softer, more expansive landscape. Above, the stars that had lit the narrow passage now seemed to blend into a broader canvas, giving way to the gentle, encompassing glow of a late summer moon. The air, which had carried faint echoes within the ravine, now opened up to a spacious quiet, filled with the subtle breath of the vast night. This was a new stretch of forest, familiar yet distinct, a secluded grove of tall, ancient sal trees. The moonlight filtered down through their wide, glossy leaves, creating shifting patterns of silver and deep shadow upon the forest floor. Each beam of lunar light seemed to linger, illuminating individual leaves with a soft sheen, tracing the rough bark of the trees and highlighting the contours of the earth. A calm silence hung beneath the canopy, broken only by the almost imperceptible rustle of leaves, stirred by an unseen, gentle current of warm summer night air. It was a sound that seemed to encourage rest, a peaceful symphony of the night. The tiger moved with an unhurried grace, padding through reeds that marked the edge of the grove, its striped fur glimmering faintly as it passed into the moonlit clearings, its golden eyes observing every detail, scanning the peaceful landscape without haste. The ground beneath its cool paws splashing through patches of dew-kissed grass felt yielding, a comforting cushion after the harder stone of the ravine. Each deliberate step was part of the winding down, the slow approach to a deep, replenishing rest. The scent of the sal trees themselves was distinct, a woody, slightly resinous aroma that mingled with the damp earth and the subtle sweetness of unseen night-blooming flowers. This blend of fragrances settled softly in the air, a natural perfume that brought a feeling of profound comfort. The tiger slowly explored the contours of the grove, following forest trails that only animals knew, paths worn smooth over countless seasons. Its tail gently swaying with each quiet movement, a rhythm of deep contentment. Deep within the grove, where the sal trees grew thickest, the moonlight created a mosaic of light and shadow, a dappled sanctuary. Here the ground was softer still, layered with fallen leaves and the smooth, gnarled roots that spread like ancient veins across the earth. The air here was even stillness, a pocket of profound quiet, where the distant sounds of the jungle faded into barely there whispers. The general hum of night insects became a hushed murmur, a tranquil backdrop. The tiger paused near water, a small, barely perceptible trickling stream that wove its way through the root systems, its surface reflecting fragments of the overarching moon. The soft gurgle of the water was a gentle melody, a final lullaby for the long day's journey. It took a slow drink, the cool liquid a soothing sensation before moving onward, drawn by an instinct for the perfect spot to settle. A broad, elevated patch of earth, nestled between the sturdy bases of two massive sal trees, presented itself as an ideal refuge. It was shielded by the lower branches, yet open enough to feel the gentle currents of air. Here, the leaves had gathered into a thick, dry carpet, offering a natural bed. The tiger stretched powerful limbs one last time, a languid, unhurried motion that eased any lingering tension from its muscles. It turned in a soft circle, testing the feel of the earth, before nestling among grasses and the accumulated leaves, its great head lowered, soft whiskers trembling slightly as it exhaled a long, calm breath. The striped fur glimmering softly in the moon's embrace, the patterns seeming to dissolve into the surrounding shadows. The peaceful solitude of the grove enveloped the magnificent creature, creating a cocoon of natural comfort that promised deep rest. The moon, a silent guardian, continued its quiet vigil above the canopy, its light constant and stillness, the tiger's golden eyes observing the shifting silver light for a few more moments, watching the drifting mist that occasionally wove through the undergrowth like ethereal ribbons. There was no urgency, no need for vigilance in this sanctuary. The journey from the sun-warmed savanna to the cool, dark ravine, and now to this peaceful grove, had brought a full cycle of experience. Each step, each observation, had been part of a continuous, slow unfolding of the world. A profound calm settled over the tiger. Its breathing deepened, becoming a steady, rhythmic cadence. The quiet forest night embraced it completely. The distant hoot of an owl, the soft chirping of crickets, these were merely threads in the intricate tapestry of the silent nature that surrounded it. They did not disturb the growing stillness within. The tiger had traveled far since the first whisper of moonlight touched its fur in the tall grass. It had witnessed the slow awakening of dawn, felt the warmth of the midday sun, and observed the gentle descent of twilight. Now, under the unwavering gaze of the summer moon, it had come to its resting place. The world outside the grove continued its peaceful nocturnal rhythms, but within this haven there was only the promise of uninterrupted rest. The cool paws splashing in shallow streams were now still. The wandering jungle paths were left behind for the night. The lounging in shade of the day had given way to dozing near streams of gentle air in the quiet forest. Its mind, too, seemed to settle, releasing the faint impressions of the day. The memories of the open fields, the shaded groves, the flowing river, and the starlit ravine all blended into a calm, continuous stream. As the sleepy woodland breathed around it, the tiger entered a realm of deeper stillness. Its powerful form softened into the earth, becoming one with the contours of the grove. The silent night deepened around it, a blanket of profound, peaceful serenity. The journey of exploration and quiet observation had reached its completion, culminating in this profound moment of comfort and rest. The moon continued its gentle arc across the velvet sky, presiding over a world deep in slumber, its light a steady beacon of tranquil peace. The tiger, at last, was truly dreaming in solitude, within its moonlit resting place, a testament to the quiet, ceaseless rhythm of life in the jungle. This deep relaxation filled the entire grove, creating an overwhelming sense of safety. The air itself seemed to hush, holding its breath in reverence for the profound peace that had settled upon the land. The gentle breeze that had carried scents throughout the night now barely stirred the upper leaves, a soft sigh that dissolved into the profound quiet. Every element of the still forest contributed to this pervasive comfort. The strength and resilience of the tiger, combined with the safety of its chosen refuge, painted a picture of absolute serenity. The long hours of walking beneath moonlight had led to this perfect culmination, a seamless transition from mindful movement to absolute repose. The peaceful wilderness extended far beyond the grove, yet within its embrace, a special kind of tranquility resided. The tiger's senses, once attuned to every whisper of the moving through undergrowth, now settled into a deep, internal stillness. Its physical form, once a marvel of controlled power, now represented the very essence of rest. It was an image of complete calm, a silent sentinel of the quiet night. The calm night sky seemed to bend low, offering its silent blessing. The subtle shift in the air, the ever-present but soft chorus of distant life, all contributed to the unwavering stability of this moment. There were no more paths to follow, no more new scents to discern, only the quiet promise of the turning earth, the slow, steady progress of the celestial sphere above, and the deep, unwavering comfort of undisturbed slumber. The entire environment, from the lowest root to the highest leaf, echoed this deep, resonating, peaceful mind. The story of its wanderings came to a calm close, settling into a perfect stillness that invited a similar deep relaxation in all who bore witness. The final notes of the jungle symphony played on, soft and distant, cradling the sleeping tiger in a boundless comfort and peaceful slumber.